news. We haven't done space news in a while. Does that hurt more than the tooth? A little bit, yeah, a little bit. In other news, this happened. What is this? Any landing you can walk away from, I guess. I mean, hey, it worked. It worked. He said that's my spot now. Yeah, right. Hey, guys, here's this is something that I posted on Twitter the other day. It's a retweet from EAA, but I wanted to show you guys. Check this out. Speaking of crazy aircraft. I don't know if the music is DMCA or not. Showing up to Oshkosh this year is that. The Connie. Oof. Nice. That's a Lockheed Constellation. Fun fact, the guy that designed the same guy that designed the F4 made that thing a couple of years prior. Oh, look at that. Hey, hey, hey! He ain't on the center line. What are you doing? Guy. I'm just kidding. I probably couldn't fly it any better. Oh, wow. Really? Good designer. Kaiser, the guy that engineered, the chief designer for the Constellation is a guy by the name of Kelly Johnson. If you want to feel pretty inadequate about yourself, do you want to hear his resume for airplanes? P-38. First. P-38. That's one of his first planes. It's a Lockheed Constellation, Jens. Imagine that with turboprops. It would certainly go faster. He designed the P-38 when he was 27. After that, the Lockheed Constellation, F-104, U-2, SR-71. I mean, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. Shuttle? No, Shuttle wasn't him. Any plans to go see the last current iteration of the Antares launch? Yeah, maybe, Hellhydra. I don't know. Do you mean the RS-71? No, I don't, Peck. If the president says it's an SR-71, it's an SR-71. And who are you to say that it isn't? There used to be two of them parked at the Auburn Municipal Airport back in the day. They're really awesome planes, Darius. It's a great design. It just the jet age basically made this thing useless. It's such a sweet plane. Look at that thing. Yeah, that's from EAA. The Connie is going to show up. There's not many of those airworthy, if I'm remembering right. Yeah, it's called the Lockheed Constellation, or a Connie for short. I don't think there's many of these. Look, produced 1943 to 1958. First Constellation. Kelly Johnson was one of the most legendary aircraft designers of all time. Of all time. How many of these are airworthy? Let's see. Surviving aircraft on display. Oh, Not cool. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool too. It's called the Starliner. Nice. Under restoration or in storage, November 7777 Golf. That's in the UK. This aircraft was used by the Rolling Stones to transport equipment during their 73 Australian tour. Sweet. Awesome. Let's see. City of Miami, parked on an unused runway at Rafael Hernandez Airport in Puerto Rico. It was struck by runaway DC-4 on February 3rd, 1992, resulting in damage to the right wing and the main spar. Shame. Spirit of America is under restoration to airworthiness, right? National Airline History Museum. The aircraft was originally built in 1957, stored for several years, and delivered to cargo carrier Slick Airways. It was restored in 1986 by the Savicani Incorporated organization, later renamed as the National Airline History Museum. It was originally painted in red and white with Savicani, but was later repainted in the 1950s livery of TWA to resemble the Star of America constellation. Nice. Cool. 1649 is the one you drove by? Oh, cool. Neat. Where's 1649? Oh, this one right here. Museum of Flight has a 1049G. Yeah, Miff, I've seen it. It's parked outside. It's by the runway. That's a Lufthansa Connie. Let's see, what else? What else we got here? What else do we got? So airworthy, military airworthy. There's not many of these airworthy. Wow, there's really not a lot. The Breitling Super Constellation, that's cool. There's one in Wollongong, Australia. We got one in a museum over there. That's cool. I think the one in the video is this one. Right here. 480613 Baton to Airworthiness by Lewis Air Legends in San Antonio, Texas. The reason why is because it has a Texas. There's Texas on the back. I'm pretty sure that's that one. I'm pretty sure that's that airplane, which is cool. There's not many of these things that are flying. There's like 3 or 4 of them airworthy at best, which is really, really crazy considering they made 1,000 of them. This aircraft was used as a personal transport by General Douglas MacArthur during the Korean... No crap. And later by other Army general officers until 1966 when it was transferred to NASA? Following its permanent retirement in 1970, it was displayed at a museum at Fort Rucker near Daleville, Alabama. It was acquired by the Planes of Fame Air Museum in Chino, California in 1992 and overhauled into airworthy condition for a flight to Dothan, Alabama, where it received additional work. After a thorough restoration back to its original configuration with a VIP interior, it was placed on display at the Planes of Fame secondary location in Val, Arizona. And then in 2015, it was sold to Lewis Air Legends and prepped for a ferry flight to Chino, arriving there on January 14th, 2016. Hence Baton. Yeah. That's cool, man. That plane has a crazy history. It was... MacArthur used it, and then NASA used it after that. That's awesome. I grew up in Dothan. That place doesn't deserve a plane that nice. Rip. See last. 480612 is an interesting Connie. Yeah, okay. That's good to know. Oh, what a beautiful looking plane. Man. That is a looker. She's a looker, huh? It's very interesting to me. I wonder if Kelly Johnson knew about area rule when he made this plane, because you see how the fuselage kind of looks like a banana almost. Area rule. Yeah, I wonder if that's what he was thinking. But see, area rule is really only for transonics and stuff. But either way, still a beautiful looking plane. That's awesome. What a sweet looking plane. Have you heard of a Gulfstream 1? Grumman Gulfstream? Yeah, of course I have. Wait, what? Is that Grumman Gulfstream? Hang on. Oh. Okay. I've heard of it now. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Okay. Yeah, I knew I recognized this. Connies are fast. I wouldn't be surprised if it tangles with transonics. What's its top speed? .377. Nah. Definitely wasn't thinking of manufacturability with that fuselage. Yeah, that for World War II, that probably was a little bit difficult to make. The tri-tail just looks strange to me. I love the way the front of this plane looks, but the tri-stabilizers look weird. I think if it had a single stabilizer out back, like if it had a stabilizer, if it had the tail end of a B-29 on it, I think this plane would be pretty much one of the most beautiful planes around. The tri-tail does have its own aesthetic, though. It does look nice, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, definitely ahead of its time. I mean, most of the stuff that Kelly Johnson made was. It had to fit in a hangar. Okay. Did it really need the tri-stabilizer? It's there for a reason, Apocalypsis. It's there for a reason. Keep in mind, I'm talking about looks. I'm not saying a single stabilizer would be better. It probably wouldn't. You know why? Because if it was better for it, it probably would have had it. That's a good way. It's a good rule of thumb when you're thinking about planes. You know, there's a reason why it has a tri-stabilizer. There's a very good reason. Remember that the speed of sound drops as altitude goes up. Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's no doubt that certain parts of the fuselage might have something going remotely near the speed of sound over. I'm guessing that the propellers might have something, might have a word to say about that. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? It's a beautiful looking plane. Look at that thing. Dude, that's just very, very aesthetically pleasing. Hey, Dak, what's going on? Very nice. But anyway, yeah, I thought you guys want to say that. EAA is the Experimental Aircraft Association. They have a huge show in Oshkosh. Why am I blanking on the state? It's Wisconsin, right? Oh, God. I don't want to get that wrong, but... Well, we sent it. Hopefully it's right. Why did I blank on that? I should know where that is. Anyway.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
So... That's a huge air show that happens. And if you're in the Midwest, I would... Yeah, you should go to that. Yeah, Fish, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Anyway. So yesterday was, just on a quick side note for more space news. Very forgettable state, can confirm. That's really cool, Hellfish. Yesterday was the...
Discovery, go at throttle up.
I just noticed something. So it's the anniversary of Apollo 11, but this says 52nd anniversary to the moon. But nope. Nope. That's 54th, not 50. I just noticed they made a typo. Huh. Funny, you healed and now I have an eye infection. All swelled up, I can barely see out of it. Nice, nice. Yeah, very good. It's not good. Make sure you get that fixed. That's 54 years. But anyway, it's the anniversary of Apollo 11. They would be coasting out to the moon here, basically doing first course correction here momentarily. Actually, not momentarily, sometime soon. Lift off. 33 minutes past the hour. Lift off on Apollo 11. And you know what? You know what we need to do? Here. In honor of that,
we have been given the scientific knowledge, the technical ability, and the materials to pursue the exploration of the universe. To ignore these great resources would be a corruption of a God-given ability.
Headphone
10,
users.
9. Ignition sequence start.
Headphone users.
6, 5,
It's gonna get loud.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. That's awesome. Yeah, baby. Ooh, that's nice. That's very nice. Impressive. Very nice. Let's see Von Braun's rock. Huh? What? Sorry. Gypsy, I finally got around to the Saturn V here in Houston at the Space Center, and all I can say that I was severely underestimating the size of the rocket in person. That's not out of line with anything that I haven't said, right? It's big, dude. Bigger than you think. Lock's load is underway for Electron. That's right, we got an Electron launch here at 7:30, which is in about 3 hours and 30 minutes from now. The Trinity test was also occurred on July 16th. Lunprod, why did the studio that made Oppenheimer not release Oppenheimer on the weekend of the Trinity explosion? What? Why? Kind of a missed opportunity there, don't you think?
Hey, whatever. Maybe it's building up the hype or something. Since when do Hollywood executives make sense? It's so we can have Barbenheimer. Yep. I'm going to see both of them back to back. You know why? Primo and I are gonna do it, and we're gonna see Barbie first, right? We're gonna see Barbie first, and then Oppenheimer right after it. You know why? Because I know Oppenheimer's gonna be good. So even if the Barbie movie sucks, Oppenheimer will make up for that. It's perfect. It's a perfect plan. Barbie is the perfect palate cleanser for watching a movie like Oppenheimer. Grab Shark, you're super excited for Barbie? That explains a lot. Oppenheimer is 3 hours. That's like 5 hours at the movies. Watch Oppenheimer just completely suck. Most things that Christopher Nolan attaches his name to don't, so I think it's a pretty safe bet. I say we should name a rocket or SSDO here Barbenheimer. Let's not do that. I don't want to do that. You gonna watch Barbie first? Yep. It rains every weekend. That's right, Jim. It has rained pretty much every weekend since the beginning of June. I have become toy, enjoyer of worlds, Barbenheimer. That's pretty good, man. No, not like the Barbie Museum in Rat Race. No. Hello, so much time since I was there. Since you were where, Supercraft? Here? Oh, hello. Alright, so next bit of space news. NASA Space Flight got us this footage here on Starbase Live. Be sure to go over there and give that channel a sub here. Check this out. SpaceX tested the sound suppressors slash pad deluge slash shoot lots of water at rocket exhaust system here down in Texas. Here, check this out. Also, headphone users, this gets bad. Headphone users. So, yeah, here, watch. Oh, that bird. I saw it, Thomas. Yeah. What is this designed to do? Shoot lots of rocket at exhaust so rocket doesn't damage pad. That's pretty much the gist of it. There was a bird flying around in there, and it's gone. Okay. How many engines were in the test rig? There was no rocket engines involved in here, STX. That is water making that noise. Burbant. Yeah, water just blew out the microphone. The bird just got a surprise bath. Oh, no, see, it's still there. Nope. That's nuts, dude. Oh, God, it really did get wrecked, didn't it? That's nuts. That's absolutely bananas. How does this work? Just like a gravity tank? No, it uses nitrogen to push the water there. I mean, that's not the exact right way to say it. When I gave my really, really basic explanation, somebody decided to pick technicalities with it last time, so it uses compressed gas to get water here. We'll just leave it at that. .33 engine static fire to test it out next. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So yeah, that's the. They put that system in place there because the last Starship mission. Here, let me show you in case you missed the integrated flight test. I'm not gonna lie, I just want an excuse to watch this footage again. But
Attention to all operators on countdown 1. We're going to
watch
start
this.
our go-no-go.
This was a couple of months ago.
Raptor 1. Go. Raptor 2.
Go.
Stage 1.
Good morning. On your screen is Starship as it awaits our first ever integrated flight test from...
So when you watch this footage and the rocket goes, watch the bottom. Watch down towards the bottom of the rocket when it lifts off. If you see stuff flying around, yeah, that's bits of launch pad.
Mission 2.
That's nice.
We have liftoff.
Flying up.
Starship vehicle, tower clear, we're into pitch over.
Crap. This happened.
Onboard view from Starship. What a sight! We're flying at twice the thrust of the Saturn V heading to space.
Execute.
Right.
That's another engine.
And there, as you saw, as we promised, an exciting end to the Starship inaugural integrated test flight.
Dude, all right. Okay, first of all, we were talking about aerodynamics a little bit earlier, and talking about how rockets really aren't designed to take aerodynamic loads from the side. Like, the air should be going over the rocket on its long axis, not on the side axis. I mean, don't get me wrong, rockets are built to be able to take wind shear, because upper level wind shear is a very big problem for launching into space. Wind moves way faster up there than it does down here because of the lower pressure. With that being said, Starship just doesn't actually... Turns out that Starship doesn't actually care. The fact that it's spinning end over end at like Mach, I don't know, 4, 5, and it doesn't break is pretty ridiculous. That is... The fact that it's doing that and it's just like, just buzzing along, doing my thing. It's like... okay. Okay. Your physics have no rule over me. Yeah, that's pretty damn impressive. But yeah, the reason why they put that stuff in there is because, look down here. See all this? That ain't ice coming off the vehicle. Those are chunks of concrete that are probably about the size of a minivan, maybe, being thrown around.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Just do the. Just want to see it one more time. Hey, bye, guy. It's been a while since you've been able to stop by. It's good to see you, man.
Flying up.
Yes, that's
Starship vehicle, tower clear, we're into pitch over. Onboard view from Starship. What a sight! We're flying at twice the thrust of the Saturn V heading to...
You gotta be kidding me, man. You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, Alex, yeah, and this one, right? It's right here. It's the drone shot. Look at the, dude, that chunk is not small. And neither is that one over there. Those are very, very big.
Starship vehicle, tower clear, we're into pitch
No,
over.
no. I need to see this in person.
Onboard view from Starship. What a sight. We're flying at twice the thrust of the Saturn V heading to space.
One more time. One more time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just give it. Just.
6. Ignition. 2. We have liftoff.
Flying truck. Okay.
Starship vehicle. Tower clear. We're into pitch over.
Why did the pad come apart? Clayton, the pressure encountered from 33 engines making 500,000 pounds of thrust all hitting the ground at the same time is probably about the same type of force that you'd encounter from a nuke, from a small nuclear weapon. That's why. And you gotta remember, the nuke is only for a second. This is constant. Yeah, think about it, man. 33 times 500,000, that's a lot of force being exerted on the ground. Like a nuclear blast. That's why. So that's why they're spraying the water in there. Spraying the water in there, and that's why this whole sound suppressor thing that I showed you is why they're using that. Spraying the water at the pad is going to basically, the water is going to absorb all the heat from the rocket engines. This isn't new, guys. They've been doing this for 50, 60 years with rocket launch pads. Starship is just an insane amount of water because you have an insane amount of engines, right? What the water does is basically absorb the heat. It absorbs the heat, and the heat that the water absorbs turns to steam, and the steam is a little bit more easy to manage than the fire coming out of the bottom of the rocket engine. That's a little bit easier on the ground. And the other thing is that if you're taking heat away from the bottom of the pad, the pressure is not going to be as, I mean, don't get me wrong, the pressure down there is still going to be enough that would turn us into literally Elmer's glue, but yeah, it's probably a little bit more manageable for the concrete that's down there. The other thing is that these water systems prevent sound from reverberating off the ground. They basically, sound is really good at absorbing water. This is why submarines, for instance, use sonar instead of radar, because radio waves don't go too well through water. Sound waves go very well through water. Thing is that sound also goes through air very well, but water will absorb it. So they shoot off a lot of droplets there, and not only does it absorb all the heat, right, but it absorbs the sound as well. That's why they're called sound suppressors too, right? So absorbing all the heat will literally prevent the sound of the Raptors from reverberating off the ground and shaking the vehicle to pieces. Those sound reverberations are so powerful they can damage the vehicle, like, for instance, making tiles fall off. That's not, Starship isn't the first observed phenomenon with this. So if we look at pictures from STS-1, from the first shuttle mission here, let me find it. Yeah, here. If we look at pictures of STS-1, this is Columbia landing. Look at the ohms pods. Look at down at the back. The tiles that are closer to the bottom of the shuttle. Yeah, they ain't there, because they got shaken off during ignition because the SRBs actually overperformed. They made more thrust than NASA was anticipating, so they didn't spray the right amount of water. So the sound from the SRBs shook tiles off of the shuttle. Columbia had tile problems. No, not tile problems. They had observed a phenomenon of tiles falling off. Like I said, not the first time that's happened. That's why they... Here, check out this picture. See? that's why they spray pads with water. And that's why SpaceX needs to really, really do that, because you don't want this happening to Starship. We all know what happens when thermal protection systems on spacecraft get damaged. Nothing good comes from that. Nothing favorable comes from that type of behavior. Am I right, or am I right? Big stonks. What's that, Oxy? Hey Milo, what's going on, buddy? What do we got? SpaceX has told some investors it expects to bring in about $8 billion in revenue in 2023, roughly doubling its revenue from the previous year. I wonder if that revenue is coming from launching payloads or profitable from the payloads that are launched, i.e., is the revenue coming from Starlink or is it coming from launching stuff into space? Both? Yeah, okay, it's both of them. Will the splashdown be live? Splashdown of what? Starlink, SATs, or crewed missions. As Master, I'm going to guess that some of it is from Starlink, some of it is from launch revenue. I mean, I'm sure... Excuse me. It's starting not to feel good. I'm sure that some of the revenue is coming from crew missions, right? But the thing is that SpaceX took most of that commercial crew NASA money and they dumped that right into R&D. I doubt you're going to make a profit off of that per se, but I mean, yeah, who knows? It's probably, the point is that I'm guessing that $8 billion revenue is compounded, meaning that it's a combination of crew missions, crew missions, customer payloads, and internal payloads, Starlink, right? So internal, which is Starlink, which is crazy. I mean, keep in mind, SpaceX has told some investors it expects to bring in $8 billion in revenue in 2023. I mean, this is through Mike Sheets, who does reporting for CNBC. It's not bad, but keep in mind, this is just whispers, but I'd believe it, to be honest with you. Starlink is, yeah. So, Starlink is, for the people that don't know, for the uninitiated, Starlink is SpaceX's internet satellite constellation. It's basically a swarm of like 3,000 plus satellites, just all in different orbits, floating around up there. And basically what it does is basically allows you to get a relatively high speed, or like a usable internet connection, basically anywhere. All you need is a little bit of power and the antenna, and boom, you can get high-speed internet from the top of a mountain where there's no infrastructure. You can get high-speed internet in the middle of nowhere. The idea is that it's there to provide internet to areas that are underserviced. So it's not designed to necessarily compete directly with an ISP. The reason why is because a cable connection is... I was about to say a wired connection, a ground line connection for internet is probably never going to be... Starlink's probably never going to be as fast as that, but it, never say never, right, with tech. Oh, we're never going to make multi-core processors. That makes no sense. Or freaking Microsoft freaking saying that the iPhone was a fad. You never don't do that, right? So Starlink is competitive enough, right? But it's not competing directly with ISPs because it's basically getting people internet where the ISPs would make no profitability from building infrastructure there anyway. So now there are a lot more rural places around the world than there are urban places, for sure, right? So I don't think that all of that 8 billion is Starlink, but I bet you some of it is. Sure. 512K of memory is all you'll ever need. Bingo, right? My sister has Starlink, says it's pretty solid. I've done a lot of video production from her house. It's fast enough. Yep. Check this chunk out. Yeah, that's pretty large. I mean, once again, if Elon... I've said this, and I've been saying this basically since 2018, since I learned what Starlink was. If SpaceX and Elon can... Or Elon and SpaceX, I don't know, whatever. If SpaceX can capture... like 1% of global telecommunications. So like think about like all the data that gets thrown around on the internet every day. If he can be a service provider for like 1% of that. That's trillionaire territory, easily trillionaire territory. Like that's way more profitable than SpaceX ever would be. But SpaceX was the medium to get you Starlink, right? So that's the idea. I think that's the entire reason why SpaceX pursued reusability with Falcon 9. I mean, A, to figure out how to reuse stuff a lot, and B, the investor pitch is, you're going to have a satellite network that's going to be worth way more than the rocket. So investing in making the rocket reusable will net you some dividends down the road, and that seems to be the case. It seems to be the case here. Hey, Smoke, what's going on, buddy? If Elon is smart, then he gets 51 to 75% of Starlink stock to SpaceX and the rest on the open market. He could, what is that called? Divest Starlink if you put it on an IPO and or something. But I'm not a stock person, so I don't know too much about that. I think that's what that's called. He could, sure, make a lot of money doing that. Recently read Starlink is having to do a hell of a lot of avoidance maneuvers. What is the sustainability as far as how many satellites? Crylox, where that's kind of incorporated into the design. Where Starlink satellites are is not a very stable orbit. They're actually low. They're 400 kilometers up. So that's about 270 to 300 miles that way for America units. That is very much a decaying orbit. It's kind of a similar orbit to the ISS. The ISS is in an orbit that will eventually have the ISS re-enter unless they boost it from time to time. That is on purpose because, if something, say the poop hits the fan on the ISS and everybody has to jump ship, right? You don't want a football field sized piece of space junk floating around up there. That's a really bad idea. So the ISS is designed to eventually come back down if it's abandoned. It's basically, think of it like a dead man's switch almost. Starlink satellites are in a very similar type of orbit. Starlink satellites have onboard electric propulsion using krypton as their inert gas for ion propulsion, I guess is the right way to say that. They use solar electric propulsion, and those solar electric propulsion thrusters basically are what's keeping the satellite. They need to constantly be boosted, just like the ISS. And if you're making a satellite that's designed to operate there that needs to be constantly boosted, doing avoidance maneuvers is not that much more of a tall order to ask. Now, the other thing here is that Starlink, and represents kind of a big change in the satellite launch industry, because basically up until like 2016, 2017, 2018, right when Starlink came along, the meta for building satellites was building these big, gigantic satellites that go out to geostationary orbit, kind of like Viasat. Kind of like Viasat 3. And having a shelf life of about 15 to 20 years. Basically, they have enough onboard propellant to do small collision avoidance, stay in the right slot, basically stay in the right orbit, do minor maneuvers here and there. And then when it runs out of fuel, or when it's getting close to running on empty, you pull it out of the orbit, you put it in a graveyard orbit, you send another one up in its place. That was basically the meta, and that's basically been the meta since like the 1980s for putting satellite markets, right? Starlink satellites are smaller. They're not as expensive to make because they're a smaller satellite, and they don't have as high of a shelf life. Now, here's the thing. SpaceX did this for a number of reasons. So why would you want a smaller satellite? Well, a smaller satellite's easier to manufacture, right? Having one with a smaller shelf life means that it doesn't need to be as complicated as something that's designed to stay up there for 15 years with relatively no mechanical maintenance, right? So how do they maintain Starlink satellites if they only last 5 years? They don't. They don't. Starlink satellites, when they run out of fuel, they just re-enter. Just dead man switch. Basically like the ISS, same idea. The satellite will run out of fuel and it'll just kind of tumble until it re-enters. They're in a very, very, very low orbit for a satellite constellation, right? And because the satellites are very easy to make, they're very easy to send up another one in its spot, or send up another 60 in its spot. No problem. Easy peasy. But that does mean that the network requires constant maintenance. because they didn't launch 3,500 satellites in 1 year. It took 5 years. It's taken a little while to build up the satellite constellation to where it's at right now, right? So this basically means that Starlink is going to need to be perpetually
Discovery,
maintained because the satellites basically run out of fuel and they re-enter, and you have to patch the holes. You have to patch the leak. Now, that is done entirely on purpose. That keeps satellite costs down. That keeps R&D down because the satellites are really small, and the satellites are really easy to manufacture because they're not designed to last nearly as long as a big, gigantic geostationary satellite. That also has a tertiary effect. Tertiary? Well, it has another effect in that there's always going to be a demand for launching stuff into space because the network requires constant maintenance. Which is why Falcon 9 was made to be reusable in the first place. This is the way that you did. This is the way that you figured this out, right? Because that's commercial satellite meta, right? Building smaller satellites that are easier to get up there, that have lower shelf life. The reason why we've been moving that in that direction is because it benefits everybody. The satellite builders don't need to make as complicated of a satellite. They could save on costs. And the people that build the rockets aren't going to build this crazy, awesome, reusable rocket, and then if a satellite's designed to stay up there for 15 years, you design this great rocket to get it there, and then you don't use it for 15 years until it flies again. You're never going to receive a profit for that. Basically, Starlink is there to combat, and small sat launching is there to combat the sinusoidal supply and demand of the launch services industry. So basically, because satellites had a 15-year cycle, every 10 to 15 years, the demand spikes through the roof, and then it goes down to nothing. And then it spikes through the roof again, and it goes down to nothing. Starlink is basically smoothing out that line, which favors reusability. Make more sense? I'm pretty sure Elon and the guys at SpaceX, all the talented folks at SpaceX had this kind of idea figured out in 2017, 2018. Like, they've been trying to implement this for a long time, and up until basically the last couple of years, it hasn't been done, but they've been pretty damn successful. So now, because you have a rocket that can be launched every week, Falcon 9, and Falcon 9 launches so much, right, that you could just build a smaller satellite. That makes space more accessible for everybody. Because Falcon 9's launching, you see manifested missions like Transporter. The Transporter missions are launching they're launching a bunch of small satellites. It's a rideshare mission. Those rideshare missions, you'd be damn sure, because economy of scale, that the cost per kilogram goes down with Falcon 9 when it launches a bunch of these all into space, right? Literally, it's cheaper because Falcon 9 flies a lot, because it needs to fly a lot, because it needs to maintain Starlink, because Starlink's where you get your revenue from. Make sense? Now, the cool thing is, on top of that, SpaceX also makes revenue off launching those big honking satellites into space too, like Viasat 3, for instance. Probably a bad example in this regard, but whatever. Because the rocket is cheaper than everybody else in the industry, which is really funny. So yeah, we see a huge move towards building smaller satellites that are small sats that are in lower orbits that don't last as long but are easier to manufacture, and that basically induces a type of linear demand for rocket launches that doesn't necessarily go up or down. And because there's always going to be a rocket available for you to launch your payload on, right? The cost of doing business if you're in the satellite industry goes down. That's why everybody's trying to make internet constellations like OneWeb, like Starlink, like whatever Amazon's doing with Project Kuiper. Won't Starship be able to launch way more Starlinks than Falcon 9? Bingo. Yep. Starship can do about 50 V2 Starlink satellites. Falcon 9 can only do 22 V2 minis. I've been reading When the Heavens Went on Sale. Yeah, Ashley Vance. New appreciation for Planet Labs. Yeah, as Planet Labs is doing small-scale synthetic aperture radar Earth observation satellites. Yeah, they work with Rocket Lab a lot. Yeah, SAR is literally space magic. Space magic. Yeah, literally space magic. Synthetic aperture radar, Earth imaging satellites. very, 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 very much mystical space magic. Spy sats. Not only that, Tessa, you know, spy satellites are like the size of Hubble. They're like the size of a freaking school bus. Planet Labs makes satellites that can do what Hubble does, albeit Hubble's a little bit older, right? I don't want to know what the Department of Defense has nowadays, but that's another story, right? Planet Labs is making satellites that can do what keyhole satellites from 30 years ago can do, and that satellite is the size of an engine instead of the size of the bus, which is, like I said, mystical space magic. They started by building a satellite out of a smartphone. Nice. That's awesome. I didn't know that. That's really cool. The real problem is the very low orbit they are in. They'll only be up there for like 5 years tops, so they'll need to replenish them all the time. Well, just if you're building a reusable launch vehicle, then all you need to do is make other upper stages. Make more upper stages. SpaceX gets the fairings back. They get the first stages back. 1058, Booster 1058 last week and 1060 over this last weekend both hit 16 flights for reusability. If you're making a reusable vehicle, this helps you prototype reusability, and also you can fill that demand. Guys, the first Starlink satellites that were launched have already re-entered. They're long gone. Yeah, they've been gone for a while. So the network needs constant replenishment. This creates a demand for launching rockets. And if you do it more just right, then the cost goes down. Crazy, right? Heck, we got a Starlink launch tomorrow. Starlink 5-13 tomorrow at, I think it's 11. Can you imagine a 100-ton spy satellite? Yes. Yes, I can. Hey, did we have a raid from Ray? We did. What's up, man? Hey, what's going on, buddy? Guys, you know my buddy Paul Scambaits. Paul Scambaits, that stream is run by a guy named Ray, and Ray does scambait calling, which is really cool. Scamming scammers. It's great stream. Great stream. I get a lot of great joy out of that, especially in this day and age. But, yeah. Tessa, can we get a shout-out for Ray, please? If possible. Welcome, Raiders. How are you guys doing? And a 69-viewer raid. Nice. 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 Very cool. Thank you very much for the raid. It's slash shoutout, Tessa. It's a Twitch command. Hello, Raiders. How are you doing? I'm EJ. I like talking about spaceflight. We're talking about market conditions for launching satellites right now. There we go. There's the shout out for Ray. Ray, if you're out there, thank you very much for the raid. I do appreciate it, man. You're too good to me. Thank you. I know you have no knowledge of this, but in your opinion, do you think the government has satellites that could read a license plate from a moving car? I don't know. Hi from Ireland. I'm Alien. What's going on, buddy? How you doing? I don't see how there's any way that doesn't exist. Geek. I mean, look at how far Hubble can look at into the universe. Hubble is a highly hot-rodded spy satellite. And if it can basically see stuff that's a really long way away. Okay? You can see stuff that's a really long way away. Really far away. I mean, I'm pretty sure a reasonable logical extrapolation would be that yes, yeah, they could probably do. They could probably read the newspaper that you're reading if they wanted to. I think that's only reasonable. Hubble's made from keyhole satellite designs from the late 1970s, but yes. You think they secretly use Hubble as a spy set? No. No. Erudite, they can't use Hubble as a spy satellite. The reason why is that Hubble has a lens on it that they didn't grind right at first. That would basically be like trying to look through a telescope backwards and calling it a microscope. Doesn't work that way. I mean, you might be able to see something useful, maybe, but probably not. Think about it like Erudite. Think about it like a camera. You know, you have a digital camera, you have a DSLR. You have certain lenses that can attach and detach from it for certain things. Hubble has a different lens on it. Alien and good, relaxing, and enjoying the rainy weather. Looks like summer has gone to Dublin and his cat is cuddling and sleeping next to you. Take out the Guinness then. Nice rainy summer day. Crack the Guinness. I mean, Alien, I'm in New England on the other side of the pond. I basically get this. You basically get my weather a couple of days later. So yeah, enjoy it. There's more rain coming. A lot more rain. We got drenched. Like drenched. Why is China using balloons instead of satellite? Doesn't cost as much money, Zaggy. Seriously, it's a hot air balloon. Sam Adams is better than Guinness. At least you don't get our Canadian forest fire smog. We do, yeah, it's blowing down here. Funny you mentioned that. Yeah, some of it gets down here. It's a little hazy. You'd imagine me, yeah. You're 4 hours near there. Oh, boy. Half of the intel that they want from balloons comes from the reaction. Yeah. Smart. Alright, here, check this out. A little bit more space nudes, dudes. Rocket Lab. This is coming from Rocket Lab, who's launching in about 2 hours, give or take. Or no, 3 hours, give or take. 2 hour 45. The Rocket Lab mission tonight, Baby Come Back, will also include a marine recovery of Electron's booster. This is the second Electron recovery mission this year. Soon, we will refly a recovered Rutherford engine on a new Electron mission. Before Electron returns to Earth under a parachute, it needs to undergo a process called stage separation. Now, don't get me wrong, we know what stage separation is, but also, I'm not going to not watch this footage. There's Miko. Stage separation confirmed. Ignition. Yeah. Yeah! That's awesome. Such good footage, dude. I don't know if you guys have seen this footage before, but it is pretty rad. If you know, for the Kerbal players, you want to know how stuff detaches, literally springs. Watch right here. You want to know how decouplers work? Springs. Usually a loaded spring. See? Spring! Is that audio legit? This is real. Yeah. I'll turn it up, but headphone users, be advised. Headphone users. Headphone users. Headphone users. This gets loud. You have 10 seconds to comply. Ow, that hurt. Is that the ullage? The springs? Yes, precisely. Nice. Pretty cool, right? Oh my. That's pretty awesome. It's some really good footage. That's actually old footage. That's from like a couple years ago or something like that. But yeah, they're going to try to get their first stage back. Now, the way Rocket Lab does it is having the thing parachute into the ocean and they recover it. But yeah, hopefully they're able to overcome the salt inundation and launch engines that have been flown before, which is pretty cool. Another company that's doing it. The video audio is so much louder than you, by the way. Ask, what do you think headphone users means? What do you think I mean when I say that? I'm confused. Your mix is fine. No, I know it is. Because if I equalized my voice to the loudness of the video, right? When I went to talk, I'd literally blow someone's eardrums out. I do that on purpose. It's mixed like that for a reason. Does that make sense? Hey, Rocket Guy. Happy Monday.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Oh, Rocket, I wish you were here. I wish you were here for this, dude. I had a avionics control system guy in here, and we were talking about rates and stuff. Dude, you would have liked that conversation. First of all, the guy was like, you play Kerbal, how do you know what... Alright. But yeah, we had a good conversation about degrees radian rates for guidance systems and stuff. You would have digged the conversation. It was pretty good. Neo, hey, 64-month resub. Thank you very much. I thought that you always talk loud, being from Boston. It's not just Boston, it's the Northeast. Have you ever seen 3 circles in the sky that look like orbs? It still has me baffled to this day. Alien, you probably saw satellites in a constellation, and I'm not trying to... I don't know what you saw, first of all, but most of the time, if you see it at night, like, or at dusk or something, you see stuff kind of moving around weird in the sky. There's satellites that are in very strange orbits. Actually, what people, here, hold on. Here. What people often confuse for some like UAP phenomenon are satellites that are in high Earth orbits, or satellites that are intermediary, like Molina orbits, like this. So the Molina satellites, right, as Earth moves, as Earth spins underneath it, they're designed to spend a lot more time in the northern hemisphere than they are in the southern hemisphere, right? Because if you think about this like throwing a baseball or throwing a tennis ball up in the air, right? It stays up there and then it zooms through the southern hemisphere and stays up there for a long period of time. The thing is, if you're watching the satellite has a really low relative speed up here because Earth's trying to pull it back in. So the Earth's spinning. If you see 2 or 3 of these next to each other and the lighting conditions are right, they'll look like they're doing this from the ground. They look like they're spinning. They look like they change direction. So if you saw 2 or 3 of them converging at the same time at dusk or at dawn, they look like they're moving around. They look like orbs moving around in the sky. Yeah, these Molina satellites, so if you want to know what Molina satellites are, they're communication satellites for Russia. There's a really, really, really simple explanation as to why. Looks like most of Russia's landmass is up in the northern hemisphere. And if you have satellites that are at geostationary, right, you're not going to get very good coverage for a lot of Russia because the satellite literally can't see the damn thing. This is geostationary, right? See what I'm talking about? Or geosynchronous would be up here. That's really, really, really tough to get communications to the more remote parts of Russia. So like up here in the Kamchatkan Peninsula in Siberia up here, right? So the Russians use a different type of orbit and a different type of communication satellite constellation called Molina, or the Russian word for lightning. Lightning orbits are basically when the satellite gets near, it strikes. It goes really, really fast, and then it goes away. After a way, it goes through really, really quick through the lower parts of its orbit, right? This way, the satellite, the communication satellite, stays mostly over the northern hemisphere where it can see most of Russia, or if not all. And because you have alternating satellites, because it's a gigantic constellation, the satellite, if you look at all their orbits together, it makes a giant bowl almost. See, it's a bowl of orbits. But, you know, if you're up in the northern hemisphere, like where you're at, right? Those satellites, as the Earth spins, they're going very slow, and the relative spinning speed of Earth comparatively to the satellite makes it look like the satellite is doing this. They'll like take left turns, and if there's 2 or 3 of them up there, they look like they're dancing around each other. Yeah, people mistake Molina satellites for UAPs all the time, dude. It happens all the time. Now, see that guy? Don't ask what happened on that mission. I don't know what happened on that mission. I just know it isn't right. You know why? That orbit doesn't look like these orbits. Something probably went wrong. Make sense? It's a great periodic orbit for reconnaissance. Yes. That guy? I wouldn't worry about that guy. Yep. As expected, Rocket Lab has contracted a different ship than before. The Sea Surveyor has been outfitted with twin davits to lift Electron out of the water using a new jig designed by Rocket Lab. Let's see. Thomas with our fleet update here. This is so interesting. I think you're right. Honestly, I think you answered your question. Yep. I got you. I'm a nerd. Back off. No. Cool, right? So that's what they're using to pull that booster out, huh? Yeah. You want to see the ground track for a Molina orbit? So this is what... Rocket Guy, thank you for that link. This is what Molina satellites' orbits look like if you superimposed it over a 2D map. See what I mean? They take that huge left-hand turn. Alien, look where that turn occurs. In the northern hemisphere. See what I'm talking about? Molina satellites. Nerds are cool though. Keep being a nerd. I didn't have any plan on stopping, but yeah, thanks. Of course they go above North America. Now keep in mind that ground tracks shift. They shift over time because the orbit stays the same, but Earth is spinning underneath it. So this is one Molina orbit. The next Molina would probably be over here. The next orbit for this would probably be this way. The ground track always shifts left because Earth is spinning this way. Earth is going that way. The age of geek. Yes. Precisely. LUX loading is underway and ice is starting to form on the outside of the Electron's carbon composite structure. As always. Now about 3.5 hours out. When was this posted? Oh, okay. So we're about 2.5 hours out now. Sweet. Geek. Oh, wait. No. We're not talking to you. Shh. Yeah, Molina satellites. It's a thing. So many Molina communication stats. There's all kinds of stuff that are in Lightning orbits, Aqualux. There's reconnaissance satellites up there, like Rocket Guy is saying. That would not... I'll tell you this. This wouldn't be the worst... This wouldn't be the worst place to put a missile detection constellation, because if you kind of look at geography here, if World War III goes down, you aren't going to launch your missile this way and fly it all the way over here to here, or to here, or to here, etc., etc. The missiles are coming this way. They're going that way. So this might be a good place to, put a missile detection satellite. Just putting it out there. What about the black dots that have been spotted worldwide? What's that about? I don't have an answer for that one, Alien. Sorry. I don't know what that is. I deal with the stuff that's out in space mostly, not the stuff that's flying around in the atmosphere. Unless it's a plane, in which case I can tell you what the plane does, but I don't know. Aliens? I'm not saying it was aliens. But it was aliens. I want to believe. What the plane doing? Like, stop killing ourselves, work together, and evolve. Great. Yeah, that'd be nice. There are those old Soviet reactor-powered radar satellites. Can I show the footage from the International Day of Rock, which was a couple of days ago? And I just want to point out that NASA literally posted this, like, on their, this is from them actual, just.
And here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Ooh.
Okay, we can't play too much. Yeah. Here, I'll link up the whole video so you can watch it. I used to like that band, now I don't. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one. Fuel is pumping engines, rockets going off, don't steal my music, You paused it at the exact frame last time, impressive. Most impressive. Yes. This shot, though. Quick note, Molina orbits are similar in stability to Sun synchronous, so they largely repeat ground tracks daily without precession across the ground. Today I learned. Ow. I just got pain from a tooth that doesn't exist. Ow. Oh, yeah, no, that's still tender. Oh, yes, that's tender. Very tender. You've probably watched that over 1,000 times. Nice, nice. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Yes. Metallica got DMCA'd by themselves for playing a live stream of them playing live on Twitch. They got DMCA'd by themselves. That's, in fact, the reason why I know that live stream DMCAs can happen. Because Metallica DMCA'd themselves, which is hilarious.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
How's the tooth? Yeah, it's not there anymore, username, if that's what you're asking. The crater where it was is being patched up. Still hurts a little bit, though. Seriously? Yeah. God. Maverick, I don't mean to get up on the soapbox, homie, but, you know, everyone's like, oh, just, you know, just play music on a separate track, so when the VOD gets uploaded, it's just your audio, and during the live stream, you can listen to music. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got a lot of stitches, Spraz, yeah. But yet, also, there's nomenclature in Twitch's end user agreement that they can take down, that they can DMCA streams live, and it happened when Metallica DMCA'd themselves, which is really funny to me, actually. That's still funny. Yeah. Getting an implant or a bridge? I just got a bridge myself. I think the guy said implant, Grand Champ, but it's going to happen. You need this to set or something. I don't know orthodontics, man. That's not my wheelhouse. But I can tell you what. This is, speaking of the tooth, this happened because I didn't take care of my teeth for the longest time. I take care of my teeth now. See? Take care of them. I brush my teeth every day, sometimes twice, depending on what I eat. But yeah, I take care of my teeth. This happened because for the longest time I didn't. There was a cavity in there that I didn't see, and I didn't know to fix said cavity until it was too late, and I shattered a tooth into a million pieces, and they had to pull the gruesome remains of it out. Oh, it also got infected, by the way. Yeah, that's where I've been, for if you didn't know, that's where I've been. I've been dealing with that. But yeah, this is because I didn't take care of my teeth for the longest time. But yeah, brush, guys. If the dentist had said you'll shatter a tooth, it'll be one of the most painful experiences of all time, and we'll have to pull the rotted remains out of your skull, and it could get infected, and that infection can kill you. If they had said that instead of, just brush your teeth every day, if they had said that, I probably would have done that when I was younger. I know now, brush your teeth, because this hurts a lot. Yeah. This hurts. That really hurt. Yeah. Yeah, you didn't crack it enough for the nerve, Tessa. Mm-hmm. Brushing once a day is the bare minimum. Yep. You had all your wisdom teeth pulled. Worst pain ever. Mm-hmm. 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 Yep. Anyway. Alright. What else do we got for space news? Let's see. Let's see what's going on here. I'm looking around here, seeing if there's anything else going on. Well, I can tell you Endeavor is vertical at the California Science Center. Got a sneak peek of it about 3 weeks ago. Endeavor is vertical? Huh. Once again, things that it should have been brought to your attention yesterday. Yep. Dude, I'm looking at sky.rogue.space. It makes me feel like we are just vessels. It looks like a bunch of atoms and molecule-like. Yeah, dude, it kind of does. There's patterns all over the universe like that, dude. But it is pretty random. It's pretty random, but you do see weird stuff like that. Yeah, cool, huh? Here, you want one that'll blow your mind? Watch this. So. So there's an early, SpaceX posted this 6 years ago about early Falcon 9 reuse. It's called SpaceX Past Missions. Here, check this out. This might get a little loud because I have the volume cranked here. Let me equalize the audio first. Let's see. So check this out. This has some slow-mo engineering footage here, right? So this is really cool. But there's one specific shot that I want to show you. It's this next shot when the music drops. So after staging, the Falcon 9's first stage, it turns around and it boosts back for landing. And there's a period here where the second stage, which also ignited, where the plume from the second stage and the first stage are interacting with each other while they're flying through space. Watch this. What does that look like? Pretty cool, huh? I've watched this video a few times. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, there's cool stuff like that all over the universe, man. Just gotta go looking. Look at some of the James Webb pictures, and you'd just be like, ooh, okay. Oh. Man, did me stubbing my toe today make that big of a difference? Nope. Nope, not really. Nope. PME, well, you're actually waiting on a... Oh, working for a company that makes titanium parts. Cool. Neat. I'm looking forward to seeing the
Discovery, go and throttle up.
supernova. It could be visible anytime over the next couple decades. Nice. Work your way through this backlog. Yeah, space-time. Nice, nice. Hey, Arcaden, 4-month resub.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Intella also with a 4-month resub. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. I'm looking around to see if there's any more space news floating around. Hey, all right, got him. I'm looking around. Speaking of the James Webb Telescope, pictures become public 1 year after taken to get to the principal scientists first. Yeah, the scientists are... So, with a satellite like James Webb, or Hubble, or any science mission for that matter, like who's driving around the Curiosity rover? Who's driving around the Perseverance rover? Well, where those satellites, or space telescopes are pointed, is basically done by students or university professors or tenured professors or something that are basically trying to figure something out. So, for instance, Perseverance landed in the Jezero crater. The Jezero crater on Mars, basically, if you look at it from orbit, it looks like an estuary. It looks like a river delta. So they decided to land there to try and understand why Mars, which looks like it had water flowing in it at one point, doesn't anymore. That's why they landed Perseverance there. So depending on these pictures and studies, depending on these scientific experiments and these scientific papers that they write up, they're basically scientific papers. And basically universities and basically professors and scientists at NASA on top of all that are basically the ones that control where these satellites are pointed, what pictures they take of, and yes, they do get the pictures before we do. Most pictures that come from NASA are touched up to... They go through some photo processing, right? They go through some photo processing that changes the color, etc., etc. The reason why they do that is because sometimes the raw picture is not really a good image. You have to do some tweaking with it in Photoshop or whatever they use. Now, the funny thing is that people often cite that like, oh, they edit their pictures, they're full of crap, implying like any professional photographer doesn't already do that is kind of funny to me. Like, I had I got married recently, and I had my wedding photographer. He took tons of pictures, but he had to touch them up, put them through some processing to make sure that they really pop, make sure that the color's right, etc., etc. Like, even my wedding photos had to be color corrected. Why? It's not a big deal when that happens. Why is it a big deal when NASA does it? You know what I mean? But the crazy thing is that a lot of these pictures they rotate them, they colorize them, they put them in a way that's easier for us to understand. A really, 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 really big one that most people probably know is Earthrise. Earthrise during Apollo 8. So this is December 24th, 1968, right here. See? Earthrise. The first shot of humans seeing the moon come up, or seeing the Earth come up over the horizon of the moon as, Apollo 8 was orbiting around. So this would be Jim Lovell, Bill Anders, and Frank Borman, right? Yeah, of course, Geek. The raw data is pretty much unrecognizable. It takes hours, if not days, to bring out the details and create a beautiful image from the data. Gee, how would you know that, S? No, yeah, you're right. Absolutely. So, right here, Apollo 8. Remember Apollo 8. So that's cool. The Earth comes up from behind the moon. What they don't tell you is that the moon's North Pole is over there. The South Pole is over there. This picture should be... Here. Let me save the image. We will go to desktop, rocket research pictures. We'll go to... where's that? Saturn research pictures. Let's do that. Sure, why not? All right, so the reason why I brought it in here is because that picture as taken looked like that. The reason why is because Apollo 8 was in a retrograde orbit around the moon. It was going opposite. Basically, the orbit that the command service module was in was an orbit that was going from east to west, not west to east, like what most orbits are in around the moon. I would say it's going in the opposite direction of the moon that the moon spins in, but the moon really doesn't spin. It's tidally locked. It spins relative to Earth, meaning that there is sunrises and sunsets on the moon, but the moon is mostly spinning relative to the sun. It stays pointed at Earth most of the time. The reason why is because, well, the side that's facing us has more mass. Yeah, tidally locked. That's what that means. The moon is very, not circular. It's very jello mold, oblong shaped. It's just hard to tell because it's the interior of it that's kind of oblong shaped. The outside is kind of spherical, but it's not. I mean, Earth is the same way. It's a big jello mold floating around in space, but it's orange. So that's what that shot looked like. But it would, NASA rotated it. In the footage, they rotated as well to make it look like something that would be more recognizable for us on Earth. Because in reality here, the Earth came around from the moon this way. Because they were orbiting east to west around the moon. So seeing something rise in the direction that you're going would look like something would rise from the west, which is not how our sun works at all. Right? Weird, huh? They do that stuff all the time. Yeah, oftentimes there's photos that are touched up like that and stuff that's kind of rotated and jostled around so we can understand it better, which is pretty damn smart because it looks a lot more recognizable when you look at it like this. Just got the news that my old lab supervisor is going to include my data in a paper for the European Journal for Inorganic Chemistry, and I will be listed as the co-author. Sweet, Dragon. That's cool, man. Is it short closing time, or why are there no stars? Oh, I get asked that all the time, Monster. So, Lollipop Monster, the reason why you don't see any stars is, well, it's pretty straightforward stuff. You ever stood in front of a car at night? Hopefully the car isn't moving. Seriously. You know, say you're in a parking lot and a car has its lights on and you're standing in front of it. Can you see the car behind it? No. No, you can't. Right? Because the lights are washing out all your vision. Right? Well, you know, why can't we see any stars here? Well, you can. You can see the light from one star here. And that star is a lot closer than all the other stars behind it. I mean, the starlight is coming from that big pulsating thing in the sky that if you look at for too long, it starts to hurt your eyes, right? The sun is a star. We can see that. That's also a lot closer than most of the other stars. So it's washing out all the light. Just like if you stood in front of a car, you wouldn't be able to see another car behind it. Because the lights wash it out. You won't be able to see it. One's closer. That's the reason why you don't see any stars in pictures from space. Now, with that being said, if you're over the Terminator and you're orbiting around the Earth, right? If you do a long exposure shot when you're in the dark and the Earth is eclipsing the sun because you're on the opposite side, you can absolutely see the stars. Oh yeah. One of the most bright and vivid pictures of the sky you'll ever see. Now, hang on here. Check this out. Now, keep in mind, this has gone through touch-ups, most likely. This has gone through touch-ups just like most of the other footage, but this is they often touch up the footage to make it so the cameras see what the astronauts see. Now, here, take a look at this. That's what they see. Is that cool or what? Now, once again, this is a very, very overexposed shot. I can already tell you that. It gets really, really dark when the Earth is in the way of the sun because there's no other light. What you might see is some ambient light that's reflecting off of the moon, which is why you see the moon at night, because it's reflected light off of the sun, right? It's bouncing light. I mean, most things reflect light. But yeah, pretty cool, huh? This is what the astronauts would see. And this is the atmosphere. Very, very thin if you're looking at it from this perspective. It's not a lot of it there. But in reality, from here to like where the ISS is not very far. It's 270 miles that way, about 400 kilometers. That's not far. And that's enough to be pretty much out of the majority of the atmosphere. Very, very thin shield there. Now watch what happens when they go across the Terminator. Oh, they cut it. I was going to say when they go across the Terminator, it gets pretty crazy, right? Hey, Florida. There's Cape Canaveral right there. What makes it that color? Which color? The atmosphere? The reason why the atmosphere has that tinge, zombie, is once again, it's because of photo processing. But here's the thing. This is actually super cool. This is a super cool part of astrophysics. So, you know, you've heard stories about how NASA's like, oh, we discovered a planet that's 2,500 bajillion light years away, and we think it's Earth-like. We think it's able to sustain life. How can you possibly know that? Well, the reason they could possibly know that is the same exact reason why that gas is a color. Because it's called gas spectrography. So basically what they do, if you want to take like a mission like the Kepler mission or the K2 mission, Hubble, James Webb, they can all do this, more or less, right? They basically look at when a planet moves across the star that it's orbiting around, and the light shines through the atmosphere of said planet. Depending on the color of that light, right? Whatever color it comes out as, you can determine what that atmosphere is made out of. Because light that goes through oxygen would diffuse light differently than nitrogen, which would diffuse light differently from methane or hydrogen or whatever. It's called gas spectrography. Basically, if you shine light through gases, they'll reflect different colors. Think about it like different, like tinted windows. Like window tint will reflect light differently, and light will shine through it differently than a window with no tint. Same idea. What you're seeing here is the view from this angle. Where it looks like you're getting some... This could be the light from cities and stuff bouncing off the ionosphere. That does happen to an extent. But I'm not 100% sure what's going on here. I don't know what that clearly defined line is. I'm not 100%, but I know that the color comes from light shining through gas. Interesting thing about the sun, while we're on the subject, if you look at pictures from the Apollo program, the sun is very, very white. It's very bright white because Helios, the sun, is a white star. The light is white. The reason why it looks yellow to us is because the sun's light rays are being diffused by the gas in our atmosphere, which is why the sun sometimes appears orange, red, well, not red, orange, yellow, stuff like that. It's because the light from the sun's going through the atmosphere. That's why. You ever notice that the moon, have you ever seen the moon on the horizon, like low on the horizon, it's a different color than when it's higher on the horizon? Because you're looking at it through more gas. Does that make sense? This is actually night glow. It's real emitted light. Cool. Different atoms will also absorb light at different wavelengths due to electron excitation, and will show up as blank bands in the spectra. Who the hell thought of this? Who the hell figured this out, Dragon? It's nuts, dude. We assume that we know all of the elements. Is it possible that we haven't discovered all the gases that exist? Elements? Yeah, there are more elements out there, Smart Ship. Yeah. Think about it like this, dude. The universe is so vast and so expansive. Expansive. Nice. Dude, there might be elements that exist that can't exist in our solar system. Think about it like this. You don't get blizzards in the middle of the Sahara Desert, do you? I mean, not saying that couldn't happen. In today's day and age, I probably wouldn't be surprised if they'd be like, "Oh, blizzard hits Egypt." I'd be like, "Yep, okay." Now, why am I not surprised by that? But you see what I'm saying? Like, snow really can't exist in a desert climate. Now, I know what someone's going to say. Well, BJ, it snows in the Mojave all the time. I know that's not the Sahara Desert. That's a different place, right? That's what I'm getting at, right? Where we are with Earth, you know, our atmosphere, etc., the way our sun is, the planets moving around, whatever, like, this is a very generalized way of saying this. We might not be able to synthesize elements here in this solar system that would naturally exist in another solar system. Does that make sense? The island of stability. I know about the island of stability. But if I mention the island of stability, just, you know exactly where that conversation goes. Make sense? Cool. Right on. Why is the moon red during a lunar eclipse? Lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipse is when the moon goes in front of the sun, right? Sorry, I'm still not up to being as sharp as I usually am because of overcoming a terrible dental surgery. It's... Earth is between the moon and the sun. Oh, okay, so it's when the Earth is eclipsing the sun from the moon. Okay, so that's reflected light, Mikey. That's it's reflected light off of, it could be off of whatever. It could be off of Earth. I mean, the other thing about gases is that they do bend light a little bit. Gravity also bends light as well. So even though the moon is in the dark, you could still get light coming to it. Yeah, this gets into relativity and stuff like that, which is very strange. Kind of hard to understand. I'm not sure if that's the exact phenomenon going on there. I'm probably willing to guess that it's not, but it could be. Wombat, you were watching a clip the other day. A NASA scientist stated that if our universe was brought to the size of the ocean, we have only explored a single 20-ounce cup of the ocean in comparison. That's incredible. Yeah, Wombat. The universe is so ridiculously big, it is hard for our brain to understand it. Yeah. We exist at a scale, right, that is literally microscopic on a universal scale. Like, yeah. It's pretty nuts, dude. Yeah, the universe is big. I don't know about you. I really, really want Star Wars. I want to find a way to go explore said universe. That would be cool. It's kind of the reason why I do what I do here. I do STEM outreach. Hopefully somebody watching the stream is the person that invents like warp drive or something. If you do invent warp drive, don't forget about your boy. Okay? Don't forget about. Be like, oh yeah, EJ's the one that inspired me, man. He's the man. And maybe if you want to like give me a cut of that patent, that would be cool too. You don't have to, but also, nah, I'm just kidding. But seriously though, I'll give you €1. I don't want your monopoly money.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Got it. I'll cover you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. Optimistic, but a noble goal. I mean, protected. That's kind of. That's kind of a little bit of a stretch. I understand that. I'm not sitting here going, damn it, why hasn't anybody invented warp drive yet? I've been doing this for years. No, like, I'm not doing that. Don't get me wrong. Don't worry, amigo. I got you. All right. Make EJ a real space agency. Yeah. nice. You should do that, though. Yeah, this island of stability stuff. Yeah, the periodic table is... Yeah, incomplete, let's say. Yikes. Yeah, these are nuclides. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. This gets a little crazy. If this looks like just a bunch of squares, if it looks like I'm playing Minesweeper, just pretend. Just pretend I'm playing Minesweeper right now, okay? Didn't hit any mines yet. Yep. Yeah. Ooh, isotopes. Yeah, right. It's freaking wild, dude. It's wild how complicated this is.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Ooh, what's this key down here? Okay, alpha decay, stable, beta plus EC decay, beta decay, proton decay, spontaneous fission. Oh, the green ones are the fun ones. Those are the fun ones. That's the ones we want. Let's see. What we got in here? Gotta catch them all. Yeah, it's like Pokemon, but better. With nukes or something. Yeah, these are the elements that are a little bit more spicy here. 266. We have to go down here somewhere. Nope. Where are you? You know what I'm looking for. Text-based chart is easier to parse. So are you, if you made sense. Got him! Oh, damn! Yeah, of course, man, yeah. Yeah, basically, what I'm trying to get at is that we, scratch the surface with isotopes and stuff. Yeah, this is just one small subset of, like, yeah, there's a, long story short, just there's a lot more elements out there. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah, see? Like, come here. Come here. Where are you? 266, you said? I think the number's a weight count, not proton count. Yeah, it's possible, which is why that's not making much sense to me, but you get the idea. Dragon, I use deuterated solvents, chloroform with deuterium instead of hydrogen for when I do NMR spectroscopy, so the solvent doesn't appear on the spectra. I understood some of those words. Point to the element of surprise, please. There it is. You were surprised? Yeah. Are the green ones the ones basically saying they're so heavy that they can't hold themselves together? You know what, Hellfish? I looked at this for a couple of minutes. I have no idea what I'm looking at. I understand this. I understand this part over here. I get that. That makes sense. Yeah, I don't understand this. I'm not exactly 100% sure what I'm looking at. I think I know, but you know what? I'm unsure of myself so much that I'm not even going to guess. And I usually do like guessing just to see, but yeah, no. Nope. You were looking for hydrogen in the spectra, so you have to use a solvent without any hydrogen. I understand that. Yeah, there you go. The Valley of Stability. I mean, I think I understand, but I'm. This is way out of my wheelhouse, guys. Start at the beginning on the left. Okay, hydrogen. Yeah, okay, all right. The answer is yes. As in we can't measure how long the half-life is because everything falls apart before we start timing anything. Yep. Hellfish, maybe? I don't know. Briggs, what's going on? Hello, I thought I'd ask a man who knows. You know the thing they found in Australia is part of a rocket from a while back. Oh, Briggs, yeah. Here, let me... I saw it when I looked at the news this morning. Here, let me see if we can find it. Space Junkweed. Australia. I'll bet you I can tell what it is. Yeah, here we go. Last Friday, people in Australia reported seeing a comet UFO in the sky, which turns out to be an LVM-3 that launched the Chandra. Yeah, so that's the Fat Boy. Yep, Fat Boy. That video on your homepage, though. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, Tomas, I saw it. Yeah, this is a with barnacles. Yeah, sure. Sup? You called? Yeah, this was part of a Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO. ISRO launched their Chandrayaan-3. It's a lunar lander. They launched it the other day, actually. Here. Nainanaja. Yeah, it's a piece to this guy. That guy. That rocket, it's funny because the Indians have a slang term for it. It's literally, their slang term for it is literally Fat Boy. Yeah, they call that Fat Boy. You said Fat Boy, I figured you were calling you. Oh, no, stop. No. And now the third stage of a PSLV rocket is washed ashore on the coast of Greenhead, Western Australia. Oh, it's PSLV. Okay, it's PSLV. It's not LVM-3. Different vehicle. This is from the thing that they launched before that. Yep. Carbon wound.
That's washed onto shore at Greenhead on the state's Midwest coast. These pictures were sent in by a 7 News viewer after locals alerted police. Live now, 7 News.
Locals alerted police.
Greenhead for us this morning. Jess, good morning to you. What is?
Is it made of bamboo? No, it's carbon. It's carbon wound. Let me see. They're reporting to you live. All right, we can just. It's carbon wound, but it's not total carbon composite SRB. There's metal in there. It's basically an SRB COPV. Does that make sense? Solid rocket booster composite overwrap pressure vessel. Basically a metal tank that's wound with carbon fiber to make it stronger, to make sure the SRB blows out the bottom and not out the side. Yeah. An SRB is basically a gigantic pipe bomb, but one end of the pipe bomb has a choke on it, is impinged, so all of the explosion gets shot out of the bottom and not out of the sides. You don't want it to go out the sides. For the uninitiated, with rockets, I know this is some hard science coming at you, okay? For the uninitiated, with rockets, you want them to explode, but you want them to explode down, out the bottom, in one direction. If the rockets explode in multiple directions, you've got a problem. Yeah, something probably didn't work right. I mean, here. So here, let me show you. Let me give you an example of a rocket not doing what it's supposed to do. So this is a Delta 2 right here. So see, everything is working fine right here. Now, it's really hard to see the failure. You got to really look close. Just watch. It happens right about now. Yeah, see what I mean? Multiple directions is not. Yeah, that's how you know it's not doing well. Yeah. Yeah, see, something went wrong. Also, it's literally raining fire from the sky.
Once again, we had liftoff of Delta 2 launch vehicle from Cape Canaveral Air Station, and we just had a problem with the vehicle on the pad.
Yeah, see, multiple directions bad. One explosion going in one direction. That's good. That's what we want. See what I mean? Yeah. That's why they, with PSLV, with that, with this piece of debris right here, they wrapped the metal on the SRB with carbon fiber around it to make it stronger, so it wouldn't do what you just saw. It's good engineering. It's pretty good. Pretty smart. Keep in mind, this is just the cap. All right. So PSLV.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
PSLV looks like this. I can show you what part of it is. Actually, yep, there it is. Yeah, that's the piece right there. See? That's the top of it, though. It would be up here. So this is only the cap. So solid rocket fuel tanks, or just solid, I mean, that's technically the combustion chambers. Solid rockets and most fuel tanks on rockets are pill-shaped. So there's another dome up here, and that's what that is. That's the top part of the dome. How can I tell? There's no nozzle here. There's some type of vent or whatever. And that's no cap. Yep. Yeah, see, it also could be the first stage. The first stage is HTPB and S139. It could be part of the S139. It could be the third stage. It could be the S7 as well. I'm going to go ahead and guess because it doesn't have any re-entry scoring on it. Like, there's a little bit, this thing, but if this thing went through re-entry, this thing would be charred black, right? Like, kind of like that right there, indicating low orbital velocity, which means it's probably the top of the S139 if I had to guess. It's probably not that one. It's probably not the C-45. I bet you it's the top of S139. SB139. So we're probably looking at here. Let me PSLV PSL C4545. It's probably this part right here, right where the ISRO logo is. It's probably that, because clearly it burned the paint off. But you see how it has that lip right there for the inner stage? These are FOD panels. Don't worry, it's supposed to do that. These are pieces that basically come off that protect the rocket when it's on the pad. They're designed to fall off on purpose. These are just FOD protectors. Most rockets use these. See that lip right there? That's most likely this right here, or what's left of it. If I had to guess, the reason why only the top of the SRB is here is because this thing probably hit the water going pretty fast, and it probably ripped the rest of it off, and just by some random chance, some air got stuck at the top of the SRB dome right here, and just, yeah, it floated. Do you have any thoughts on UFOs? I do, yeah. But I'm going to communicate them to you telepathically now. Did you get it? No, that's disgusting. How did you... How did... Got it. However, I don't speak lizard man. Could you say that again, but in human language? Lizard man? Chat, you are not real. You are not real. It's been identified as the third stage. Thank you.
Discovery,
For once again,
go at throttle up.
taking the wind out of my sails. I appreciate it. Keep doing you, bud. Nothing is real. You're also not real. Yeah, but how can our eyes be real if our eyes aren't real? Totally something a mole man would say. That melon farmer back there is not real. How did that become a meme? How did that become... You know what? I'm not gonna ask. Whatever. Adman had 93 months, and Mika had a 2-monther in there. We know what you did. Yep, in honor of the W-93. A nuclear warhead. Planned to replace the W-76 and W-88 warheads on the United States Navy submarines in 2034. Nice. Nice. Can you always use telepathy from now on? I like the AC white noise. How did Corn Kid become a meme? Yeah, alright, that's fair. That's fair. Wow, that was rude.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
That was harsh? Oh, come on, it wasn't that bad. Have you covered this? Hey, Owens, 56 months. Thanks, man. What's this? What do we got? Space Force. Oh, this. I saw this the other day, dude. This is very interesting. This is a 2023 Falcon 9 rocket, and it's the weirdest thing. All right. This is actually really strange. Well, not really strange, but here, check this out. This is another tweet from Mike Sheets here. Look at this. Look at this. Space Force is expanding Lane 2 of NSSL Phase 3 to 3 rocket companies from 2, specifically calling out the pacing challenge of China as part of the need for more launches and providers. I can't believe you just said that. Yeah? Do it. Let's see. See if anybody does it. I feel like I'm holding a party for time travelers right now. Nobody did it. Alright, cool. Sweet. Anyway, so seriously though, I telepathically said say a word, and if somebody said the word in chat, I would literally shut the stream off and run away. Anyway, let's check this out. So this is the National Security Space Launch Phase 3 Draft 2 RFP. So the Lane 2 constructs, which is phase 3 of the National Security Space Launch Contract. So, give you a quick background. Why is this a big deal and what does it mean? So, NSSL is the National Security Space Launch. It's basically the Department of Defense's contract program for launching satellites that do things in space. Alright, what do they do? Don't know. Things. So, NSSL is basically was divided into 3 phases. There's NSSL Phase 1, which was called the Launch Services Procurement. And then there's NSSL Phase 2, which is called the Launch Services Agreement. So there's Phase 1, LSP, Phase 2, LSA. This is Phase 3 now. Now, okay, so what was Launch Services Procurement? Launch Services Procurement for NSSL was basically the Department of Defense putting out, saying, like, we need a launch vehicle to do this. Who wants to make a launch vehicle to do this? We will literally pay you to make a launch vehicle and have a pool of launch vehicles, and then we get to decide which ones we want. The deciding which ones we want part is Phase 2. That's the Launch Services Agreement. The Air Force said that they're going to pick 2 providers. Now, when NSSL Phase 1 came out, the Launch Services Procurement, right? Or wait, I think I got it backwards. I think Agreement was Phase 1 and Procurement was Phase 2. So, let's just say, when they did the first agreement here, they paid 4 companies to make 4 launch vehicles that would be able to launch all of the satellites that they want on orbit, okay? So 4 people showed up: SpaceX, ULA, Blue Origin, and Northrop Grumman. And then Phase 2 came around. When Phase 2 came around, out of the 4 rockets that were proposed, the Air Force or the Department of Defense or some 3-letter agency had to choose which ones they want. Actually, it's technically Space Systems Command out of the LA Air Force Base, if we really want to be technical, right? They had to choose. They chose ULA and SpaceX, okay? Phase 3 here, this is a Phase 3 draft. So Phase 3 technically hasn't been, it is not a thing just yet. This is Draft 2, and this is an RFP. Now, Phase 3 of National Security Space Launches looks like it has nomenclature in here for them to select another launch provider. I'm interested to see which one. The reasons why they have that is citing, what did it say? Hold on, let me check. Specifically calling out the pacing challenge of China. Let's see what they say here. Let's check the nomenclature. Our dual-lane approach to utilize diverse commercially available launch systems sparked great interest from many providers, including those just entering the market. The need to increase resiliency in the face of pacing challenge from countries like China. Based on industry feedback and the need, we refined our strategy to fortify assured access to space by ensuring that the government has 3 launch providers capable of meeting security space launch requirements by the end of Phase 3. Interesting. Alien, how did you learn about space? Books or just researching? Alien, I've been doing space streams on here for the part of a decade. I've been streaming on Twitch for a long time. I'm literally ancient in internet years. I'm self-taught. I'm a 3D artist by trade, if you really want to know. Like, I can make models for video games or models for CNC machines or something like that. But I'm self-taught when it comes to spaceflight and engineering. Anything that has to do with that, yeah. Internet's pretty powerful. So, talk about dedication. Love what you do, right? My job's pretty friggin' sweet, dude. I love what I do. Do this every day. I do it every day. I also said do. All right. Just jumped in. Welcome back. Thanks, Max. So, NSSL Phase 3, it's interesting because they're putting out a draft to have 3 launch providers when they specifically said before that they wanted 2. Now keep in mind, the NSSL is kind of flux. You could change it. They could draft it depending on what needs, and it looks like they said that they cite industry concerns. Is that what I saw? Okay, based on industry feedback and the need to increase resiliency in the face of pacing challenge from countries like China, we refined our strategy to fortify assured access to space by ensuring that the government has 3 launch providers capable of meeting NSSL requirements by the end of Phase 3. We are confident that this approach will secure launch capacity, enable supply chain stability, increase our resiliency through alternative launch sites and streamlined integration times, and enhance affordability for the most stressing national security space missions. Lane 1 is a multiple firm fixed price indefinite delivery indefinite quantity IDIQ contract, open to all qualified bidders. Lane 1 includes the opportunity for annual on-ramping for emergency providers and launch systems as they become available. If this is word salad to you, I'll translate it in a second. Give me a moment. Lane 1 covers procurements with a 5-year base ordering period from fiscal year 25 to 29 plus a 5-year option. Lane 1 is tailored for more risk-tolerant space vehicles launching to commercially accessible orbits. Task orders for launch services will be completed on an annual basis among all IDIQ awardees, with missions ordered either individually or in blocks. Lane 1 providers must propose fully burden launch service prices, including all applicable launch service support. Lane 1 also incorporates tiered mission assurance as required by each mission's risk tolerance. So, firm fixed price, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity means basically means that the Department of Defense is going to buy whatever rocket they choose, but they're not sure about how many. They're going to buy at least one, but not more than one. Maybe sometime in the future. We don't know how many of these we want to buy, but we want to buy this rocket, and this is the price. Firm fixed price, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity. Meaning that they could buy 30 of those in the future, or they could buy 5. But the price stays the same. That's what IDIQ means in lawyer speak. At least one, less than $1 million. That's the better way of saying it, Soler. Yes, thank you. Lane 1 includes the opportunity for annual on-ramping of emerging providers and systems as they become available. Basically, Lane 1 favors people that don't already have launch vehicles that are made. Basically, if you're building your launch vehicle for national security missions, then there's nomenclature in there to accommodate people that haven't launched. If you're bidding on this mission and you haven't launched anything into space. Gee, I wonder who they're talking about. Lane 1 covers procurements with a 5-year base ordering period from fiscal year 25 to 29 plus a 5-year option. Lane 1 is tailored for more risk-tolerant space vehicles launching to commercially accessible orbits. So, basically, Lane 1 says that the amount of rockets, which they're not sure they're going to buy, will happen basically from 2025 to 2029 with an option going to 2034. And Lane 1 is really designed to reach more, they say, commercially accessible orbits. That means orbits that are easier to get to, so that's probably low Earth orbit missions. Low Earth orbit missions, medium Earth orbit missions. Some of these missions that, SpaceX and ULA fly for Department of Defense missions are direct-to-geo insertions, which are very complicated missions, comparatively. It's harder to put something on the moon, right, than it is to put something to the ISS, right? That's the idea. The more delta V you need, the more complicated the mission it is. The bigger the rocket you need, hence more complication. The Lane 1 stuff is really aimed at people that are trying to get to the, providers that can get DoD satellites to the easier orbits to get to, and they say it's tailored for more risk-tolerant space vehicles launching to commercially, risk-tolerant, meaning that the vehicle can fail and it's not that big of a deal. It's basically the low-risk payloads for the Department of Defense comparatively to like a bajillion-dollar spy satellite. This is small stuff. That's what it's for. Unmanned, presumably. Strangelove. The Department of Defense can't put people into space. If they do, it has to be through NASA, which is a civilian organization. Putting military personnel in space is a no-no. for every country. Every spacefaring nation has signed that. You have to be on loan to a civilian research organization. So for China, it's like the Chinese National Space Administration, CNSA. Us is NASA. Canada is the CSA. You know, any European astronauts are the European Space Agency. Even though some of these astronauts and taikonauts and cosmonauts, so Roscosmos for the Russians, and some of them are actually serving in the militaries of their home country. It's an assignment. That's how NASA is. It's basically a detached military organization that's not really military. It's run by civilians. Body odor in Blue Origin, also shortened to BO. Coincidence? I think not. Right. Yeah, that's Strangelove. If you want to learn more about that, the 1967 Outer Space Treaty basically says that you don't put military in space. The reason, there's a lot of different reasons why. One of the big ones is that space is a really gigantic place, and trying to colonize space would basically make an arms race that would be unsustainable for any country, not even us. That would be very bad. The other thing is Kessler syndrome, another big one. Say we do start a fight in space and stuff starts blowing up, that would make really bad debris fields and showers of debris that could kill other satellites, and the debris field could get so bad that no one could launch anything into space. And I don't think we need to say why eliminating mutually assured destruction is a very bad idea. Think about it. We have a fight in space. Space gets clogged up full of all the broken pieces, because that stuff doesn't come back down. It'll just kind of sit there. It gets full of all those broken pieces, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, we lost in space. Nuke them. Launch the nuke. Fire the missiles. And you fire the missile and it goes up and it gets clobbered by a broken satellite. No one has nuclear standoff capability. World War III happens. There's nothing saying, there's no deterrence. There's nothing saying you can or can't do this. World breaks into chaos. We had the foresight to understand this in 1967, and we've abided by that. Everyone has, for that exact reason. It's untenable. Literally, it leads to destruction. Like, guaranteed. Yeah, bad idea. Which country made the first space rocket? Alien, how do you define space rocket? Are you talking about putting somebody up at the top of a rocket and launching them into space, or just a rocket that reaches space? What are we talking about here? I thought the Greys made us agree to that when they came back to get the aliens we captured at Roswell under threat of nuking us from orbit. Also that, Pete. Yeah, it could be that too. Just a rocket that reaches space. That would be Nazi Germany. Yep. Nazi Germany had a rocket engineer, very, 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 very smart rocket engineer named Werner von Braun. You've probably heard that name before. He invented a rocket called the Aggregate 4. The Aggregate 4 is basically a suborbital rocket that can get just to the edge of space. And then von Braun's boss, that guy, the mustache guy, the guy that we don't like him, he said, "Oh, I can use this to bomb people," and promptly funded the heck out of the project and made von Braun join the Waffen-SS. And a lot of good rocket research happened during that time, and not a lot of good things happened during that time, but there's some pretty good advancements in the field of rocketry that happened from 1940 to 1945. Yeah, you get the idea. The A4 became the V2, guys. Yeah, Mustache Man renamed it because Vengeance Weapon. He thought the Aggregate was a stupid name, so he renamed it the Vengeance Weapon 2. What a dork. Anyway, yeah, that was the first, fully integrated rocket like how we kind of think about it today, Alien. And then after World War II, when Germany folded, the Soviets got some of that technology and we got some of that technology. The Soviets mostly got the hardware.
Go at throttle up.
We got the scientists. And then from there, the Americans and the Soviets started building their own rockets to get to space. Mostly that research was funded by doing intermediate range ballistic missiles and nukes. Yeah. A rocket could get a nuke over there really, really quickly. Much quicker than a bomber, so, yeah. But, see, everybody says, you know, an interesting postscript to this whole thing is that everybody says, you know, oh, well, Germany was the one that built the first rocket, and the Soviets and the Americans just copied them. It's just copies, right? Yeah, but they failed to mention that von Braun's work was based off of an American scientist named Robert Goddard, who invented the first liquid fuel rocket engine in 1922. So who copied who? Did the Americans invent the first rocket? First liquid fuel rocket, sure. Goddard's work was based off of equations from a Russian scientist named Konstantin Tsiolkovsky. Tsiolkovsky basically came up with the math for what governs rockets flying through space 50 years before anyone launched a rocket into space. Tsiolkovsky's work is based off of Kepler. And, Johannes Kepler, Isaac Newton, stuff like that. So who invented rockets? Mm-hmm. And even then, propulsion systems like solid rocket boosters are a Chinese design, technically. If you really want to look at it that way. Chinese made fireworks. Fireworks are a solid rocket booster. The payload is an explosive instead of something that you'd launch into space. Rocket design goes back thousands of years in China. So, you know, von Braun made the first rocket that touched the edge of space. But his work was he would have been up crap creek without a paddle if he didn't have Robert Goddard. Robert Goddard would have been screwed without Konstantin Tsiolkovsky, a Russian. Konstantin Tsiolkovsky wouldn't have been able to do his math if it wasn't for Isaac Newton and Johannes Kepler. So, I mean, how far does it go back? You know what I mean? Pretty interesting, right? And then in the beginning, there was the monolith. Anyway, Thomas had something about... okay. The DoD awarded 3 launch services agreements in 2018 to ULA Blue and Northrop. Phase 2 was the LSP, and that was ULA and SpaceX. The reason SpaceX didn't get anything in the launch service agreement is because Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy were fully developed and Starship was too high risk, and they sued because of it. That's right, Thomas. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done space news. But it's interesting that they're fielding a third provider now. Very interesting. So, the Department of Defense wants 3 launch vehicles for their contracts. Somebody that's lane 1, somebody that's risk tolerant, so basically more likely to send it. And the government will select 3 awardees for lane 2. Competitively awarded FPP indefinite delivery requirement contracts will be awarded to the best value, next best value, and third best value launch service providers who meet all NSSL orbits and unique mission capabilities. So, who do we think it is? A lot of you guys are saying Blue Origin, huh? If by interesting you mean Blue Origin lobbied hard, not that it's bad to get in, yeah. Yeah, Wisp. Based on industry feedback and the need to increase resiliency in the face of the pacing challenge from China, countries like China. I wonder what that industry feedback is. Dinero. That's just a guess. I don't know. It's just my opinion. Probably wrong. Maybe not. Think it's Blue Origin? NASA? NASA? I mean, Kraz, you put a Kappa behind it, but what rocket would NASA? No. Did Relativity have a successful launch of the 3D printed rocket? Nah, Malachi, the second stage didn't work. SLS, can you imagine? Can you imagine? We've talked about this before. I swear. If the third provider ends up being Boeing with SLS, I think I'll blow a gasket. But it's most likely Blue Origin. I would say Blue Origin with New Glenn would be a likely candidate. New Glenn is a very, very good rocket. But see, SLS is also a good rocket. Boeing looking to sell their share with ULA and go in on SLS would be interesting. Wouldn't that be something? SpaceX is confirming they're targeting tomorrow for Starlink 615 with 15 satellites aboard. Cool. Wait, 15 satellites? V2 minis. V2 minis, yeah? Slick 4. Yep, V2 minis. Cool. How far along is New Glenn in development? We don't really know, Protectin. They really don't give us a lot of updates. But if I had to guess, we're closer to the end than we are to the beginning. I'd pass out laughing if Blue Origin lobbied for it, but SLS snagged the support. I mean, Aqualex, you know, Blue Origin could lobby for it, but Boeing also has cash to lobby. Just putting it out there. Everything from now on is V2 minis. Cool. It looks like they took flying lessons from you. What is this? This is from Breaking Aviation News. Hold on, I gotta give credit. The HD Aviation. I don't. That is not how I. Oh my God! You missed the arrestor cable. Oh. Dude, the AMPs are looking at it going, oh, come on, man! Like, seriously. This is awful. Going. Oh, my friend. No, the low rider. Do 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 do. How the suspension took that is beyond me, dude. Because that's death. If the landing gear gave out, that's death. You're not walking away from that. Ugh! Ugh! Oh God, it's so difficult to watch. Yeah, how's your spine? Wait a minute. 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 Did you see that? Oh no! Yeah, that's broken. Oh my goodness, that's really broken. Oh yeah, you bent something. It's giving us the stanky leg, man. They made Z fighting a thing. It'll buff out. Dude, what the hell caused... Wait a minute. Look at it. Look at it backed up. Ready? Alright. I'm done having fun. That footage is coming from HD Aviation. That's really that's probably not how you do that. Just saying. Probably shouldn't do that like that. Oh, speaking of that, dudes, did you see that A380 landing from Big Jet TV? You want to see a no-no? You want to see a no-no? Here, watch this. You should go watch Big Jet TV. It's a YouTube stream that shows jets landing, but watch this.
Oh, easy!
So
Oh my flipping heck!
yeah, indeed, man. Indeed. Oh, here, I'll link up the footage from Big Jet. Go over there and watch the whole thing. It's so cringe, bro. Whoa. The pilots have not listened to this song. Nice. Nice. Oh, that's so bad. That's so bad. Oh, easy! Dude, it was... The landing gear did not like that. Let's just let's just say the landing gear didn't like it, and we'll call that a day. That was bad. That was not good. All right. Should make that a commercial for a clothing store. When you need new shorts, we got you covered. All right, what's this, Thomas? We got pictures from Greg Scott here. Must be ex-Ryanair. Construction uptick at SpaceX's Roberts Road and Blue Origin's campus on today's flyover. Oh, hey. Crew access tower for Pad 40. Dude. Cool. Look at it. It's so small. Segment 1 on the left, segment 2 on the right. Sir, how are you still driving? Oh, jeez. Drive it like you stole it. So this is a... So this right here, guys, these photos from Greg Scott here are a... They are a picture of the Pad 40 service structure. Now, Pad 40 service structure. Little bit of background as to why we're like, oh, that's cool. So, all right. Down in Cape Canaveral, you have a bunch of different structures here, okay? The big ones that you can see are 39A, 39B. These are both crew-rated pads. People have launched from these, and more people will launch from these in the future. 39A with Falcon right? Falcon and Dragon. 39B with SLS whenever Artemis 2 decides to happen. Now down here you also have a slew of other pads. Some of these pads down here in the past have been used for crew launches, but most of them haven't. Some of them that have been used for crew launches. Complex 34. Apollo 7 launched there. Apollo 1 had a problem there. Didn't launch, but yeah. Apollo 7 from there. Then you have Complex 14 down here. Complex 14 is where Mercury Atlas launched from. And then the Gemini program was LC-19 up here, if I'm remembering right. And then LC-5 is where Mercury Redstone launched from down here. So those are crew-rated pads in the past. Nowadays, there are a lot more crew-rated pads around, like Slick 36, where New Glenn is supposed to launch. It has a fixed service structure. You can see the shadow from it right there. It's supposedly crew-rated. I'm not sure for what vehicle, but even if Blue did know, they probably wouldn't tell us. Slick 41 has a service structure on it for crew. It's the thing that says ULA on it right there. That's designed to get people aboard Starliner, right? But these service structures here, right? These service structures that we see in these photos from Craig Scott are Slick 40's service structures. So Slick 40 is a Falcon 9 pad. And the foundation for the structure is right here. Right there in this kind of square spot right here. Now, why? Why would we do that? Why is it getting a fixed service structure? Well, on paper, that fixed service structure is there so SpaceX will have the ability to launch Dragon 2 capsules from Slick 40. And the reason why they're building a service structure is so they can late load cargo. There are some cargo and science experiments that go to the ISS that are time sensitive. And those time sensitive payloads need to be late loaded. They need to be loaded basically as close as you can before you go to launch the thing. So you need a service structure. 39A can late load payloads, right? Because it has a service structure on it. Now, 39A is going to need to be taken down for a little while because SpaceX needs to do some modifications to it for their national security space launch contract obligations because they're building a gigantic, bigger fairing version of Falcon Heavy, and they need the facilities to be able to integrate military payloads on 39A. So 39A might see some downtime. So in the future, Pad 40 is should be able to, A, late load payloads for uncrewed Dragon capsules, and B, probably be able to do crew on crewed Dragon capsules as well, which is really cool. What we're seeing here is another pad that has the infrastructure on it being built to be able to launch people into space. This puts the count of crew-rated pads at 5 right now. Actually, 39B, 39A, so 1, 2, 3, 40. So that's 4. 36 is 5. It's pretty crazy. Hey Dave, 61113 sub. New T0 for Electron, 2127 Eastern. Okay. 2127. My brain can't do math right now. It's at 9:30. So 3 hours from now. Okay. Another reason is that NASA wants a backup for if Starship frags 39A. Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's also Starship technically. There's a Starship pad out here nowadays. These pictures are old. Let's see if we can get to the most updated version. Yeah, there's a Starship pad out here. It's not finished yet, but yeah, Starship pad out there. So we have more crew-rated pads and more infrastructure being built to launch people into space right now than any point in past history. How many crew-rated pads are there in the world? Are we talking crew-rated pads that have launched things into space, or just pads that could host capability of launching a crewed spacecraft? Both. crew-rated pads. Give me a second. Are we talking historically as well? Because if we rope historically in, it goes up. So historically is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 pads. Oh, no. Well, technically 12, 13. So there's 13 of them. So going down the list here, Cape Canaveral, 39B, 39A. So 1, 2, Slick 37. 37 was crew rated. Never launched crew, but it was crew rated. It had a crew access arm on it. So 39, that's 37A and 37B. So actually that's 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. LC-19 for Titan. LC-14 for Mercury Atlas. LC-5 for Mercury Redstone. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then zooming out over in Russia, or in Kazakhstan at Baikonur. We haven't zoomed in over here in a long time. Where are you? There you go. All right, so we're at 9. So there's Gagarin start right there, 10. And then there's the other Soyuz 2-1 pad out here that can launch crew, 11. There's the N1 Buran pads over here, 12, 13. And then there's Wenchang in China that launches, or no, not Wenchang, Jiquan, whichever one launches Long March 3. So it's the Jiquan Launch Center. So that would be 14. Yeah. So yeah, 14 pads have launched people historically into space, or have human rating capability. It's a pretty wide data set. Actually, forgot one. 15. Vostochny does not have a crew access arm. Blackhorst, no. What about Vandenberg? Vandenberg, it has Stealthy Sumo 15 if you include Slick 6, yeah. It had a crew access arm installed on it. Yeah. 16, I think that's it. I'm pretty sure that's it. Yes, SLA-4, or I think that's what they call that pad, Ariane 5's launch pad, which is decommissioned now, which is weird to say. Ariane 5 is crew rated, and it has the facilities for launching crew vehicles. They built all that, and then they promptly defunded the crew vehicles, saying we don't need to build that. Ariane 6, I'm not 100% sure, but that's Ariane 6's pad out there. This one that looks like a driving range. Do you realistically see Starship from flying 39A? Oh yeah, absolutely. ELA-3 is Ariane 5's pad. There you go. What about Roscosmos' Northern Cosmodrome? No crew launched from there, to my knowledge, Everest, unless the Soviets did it without telling anybody. The cowbell tipped over. Gotta have more cowbell. The interesting thing, guys, the interesting thing here, the interesting thing about Slick 6, just while we're on the subject of building crew access towers and stuff, you guys know that SpaceX picked up the lease for Slick 6 after the last Delta IV Heavy launched out of here, right? Where did Buran launch from? Complex 110 at Baikonur. Yep. Actually, Site 110. The way Thomas said it is probably better, Alex, because
Discovery,
saying Complex 110 is not really how the Russians name their launch pads. We say complex, like Complex 39, and that kind of encompasses the whole thing. Site 110 would be like saying 39A instead of Complex 39. Makes sense? So Site 110 is actually the two heavy lift launch pads, or super heavy lift launch pads that are out in Baikonur. Hey, Vulcan, 43-month resub. Oh, hey, Slick 6, I know that place. Fun fact, it was originally a close of Slick 40-41. Clone. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, hey, Bree.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm just coming in to say hi. How's Twitch chat?
Everything's good.
Yeah. How's your mouth?
Took me a second to understand what you meant. I don't know why. Yeah, it's fine. Everything's good.
Alright, you brought that bottle of ibuprofen in here, right?
I didn't. I forgot to get it.
Oh, alright. Well, then the one in that. Then you probably need more, don't you?
Yeah, if you could get that for me, that would be...
That's where I was going anyway, so...
That would be great. It's just that we're taking all the ibuprofen, you know, for our ibuprofen reports. Yeah. No, thanks, baby. I appreciate it.
You got it. Alright, that's all. I love you.
Love you too, baby. Thank you.
Yeah. Anytime.
Chat says hi, by the way.
Hi, Chet.
So, the Titan clone, yeah, it was supposed to launch Gemini MOL Vulcan, that's right. But Slick 6 here is, SpaceX picked up the lease for this, which is interesting because they already have a pad. They already have Slick 4, which is over here. But Slick 4, see, it's interesting because Slick 4 should be able to launch Falcon Heavy, but it's never launched a Falcon Heavy, but it should be able to. But SpaceX also picked up the lease for Slick 6. Slick 6 is a much larger facility. And the thing about Slick 6 is that Slick 6 actually has, or Slick is the slang term for Space Launch Complex. So when I say Slick 6, I mean Space Launch Complex, right? The interesting thing about Space Launch Complex 6 is that it has a crew access arm built into it because it was built for the shuttle. Well, it was built for Titan originally, then the shuttle program, and then they didn't do that. But the service structure has remained. The service structure was outfitted for the swing arms for Delta IV Heavy. But Delta IV Heavy doesn't launch from this, and SpaceX picked up the lease. So now I'm wondering what the heck they're going to use this for. The interesting thing is that tomorrow we'll see a Starlink mission go out of Vandenberg. And the last Starlink mission that we saw fly out of there entered a 43-degree inclined orbit, launching on the descending node axis, basically launching southeast. 43 degrees inclined out of Vandenberg. Okay, so why is that weird? Vandenberg has never in the past ever been able to fly a mission like that because of reliability concerns with rockets. Basically, you don't fly rockets over potentially populated areas. Falcon 9 has proven that it's a very reliable piece of equipment, right? It's safe enough to be able to fly it. So basically, they launched south. Here, I'll show you. They launched south-southeast out of Vandenberg. And the rocket did a trajectory that looks something like this. Now, by the time the rocket got over here, over Baja, right, it basically crossed right at the border between Baja California Sur and Baja California. Sur is just south. Because of this right here, right, the rocket was already flying high enough that by the time it made it over populated areas, right, it was it was going fast enough to even where something went wrong, it would re-enter, right? So the crazy part about this, the crazy thing here, FSS isn't the main part thereafter though. MST is the big want here. Also, Slick 4's flame duct would need some serious retooling to deal with current Falcon heavy thrusts. Thank you. I'm getting to that. But yeah, that's a good call, man. I'm getting to it. You jumped the gun there.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hip, 86-month resub. Baby, come back. Nice, dude. So, where was I? What was I saying? Now I have to reorganize my entire spiel, Vulcan. Thanks for that one. You jackwagon. So basically it launched on a trajectory like this out of Vandenberg, right? This trajectory here to hit a 43-degree inclined orbit out of Vandenberg. Cool part about this is that you could reach the ISS from Vandenberg, which is no one's ever launched any person from Vandenberg that we know of. Maybe, who knows? So we are looking at SpaceX basically being able to get to the ISS's orbit from Vandenberg, which not many rockets have been able to do. In fact, no rocket has been able to do that ever. Interesting. Just wondering if the space shuttle could have flown in orbit like this. But, I mean, it could, but Space Station Freedom was designed to be at a 27-degree inclined orbit, so it would have had to have been something like that, which is a particularly absurd trajectory even for the space shuttle. It's doable. The SRBs would, yeah. SRBs would only be coming down over here somewhere. How does Vandenberg look in terms of hitting lunar transfer orbits? That's an oof right there. I mean, it's possible, Rocket, yeah, but probably not. Anyway, point is that with Slick 6, there's a fixed service structure attached to it, and they could use it to launch crew, but they're probably not. They're after it for the mobile service tower so they can integrate Department of Defense payloads at Vandenberg. The mobile service structure at Slick 6 is a big movable structure that you can use to integrate Department of Defense payloads. That's what it's used for now. But yeah, that's where I was going with it, Vulcan. But yes. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. When do you think Starship will launch next? Baby, come back. Yeah, of course I understood it, Hip. Yeah. Baby, come back. Yeah, they're also recovering the boost. Yeah, I got it. I got the song. Yeah, of course. Tourniquet 55 months. Thank you. When do you think the next Starship will launch? Starship? Yeah. Best case scenario, dude, the end of the summer, like September 21st. Best case scenario. They just got the pad deluge system working. It's going to take a while to fix everything else and get everything ready to go. But, you know, like I said, with SpaceX, you never know. They could have a breakthrough. It could come faster. I would say end of the summer. Yeah, something like that. Like, that's the best case scenario. It would happen one day. Still a lot left to do from a technical and regulatory standpoint. Yep. Yep. Thank you, but I like it better my way. Yeah, so Rocket Lab actually got delayed here. It's not for another 3 hours. Thanks for the answer. You asked something stupid from the long pause. Can't wait to see it lift off again. You didn't ask a stupid question, Doom. I'm trying to think of how long it's going to take to put everything together. No. Me pausing was basically thinking about all the stuff that you have to do to get them close to launch. So, like, okay, let me put it to you like this. Let me explain. So, we saw them work the pad deluge system. So, keep in mind this is very general. So, bear with me. What do you need to launch Starship? You need the pad fully working, which we basically have just seen now. You need a working booster, and you need a working Starship. What have we seen? We've seen Starship. Ship 25 did the static fire the other day. We're so pretty confident that that thing is good to go. The booster. Okay. We need the booster, so you need a booster moved from the construction site to the pad, right? So we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that. I'm going to guess it's booster 10, but who knows? They got to move the whole thing to the pad. They got to put the thing on the pad. They got to do plumbing tests. They got to do firing tests. They got to do a static fire. They got to do a full duration static fire. They got to stack the vehicle. They got to stack 25 on top of it, right? And then do a wet dress rehearsal and then go, right? On top of any other modifications that they're making to the pad right now. You think that's happening in a couple of weeks? I don't think so, Dune. I would say a couple of months, right? End of the summer. Right, I think that's fair. That's what I was thinking about when I paused, dude. It's not that you asked the stupid question. I was kind of thinking about what they still need to do, and comparing it to the last time they launched something, the last IFT, which was 3 months ago. I said full duration static fire. I meant all up static fire. Full duration is not what they're doing, Contra. Sorry. Has the launch pad been found after the last Starship launch? Oh, they found most of it, Wayne. Most of it. I think they will shock us late August. Yeah, maybe. They already had a breakthrough. Concrete they broke during the launch. Yeah, it did all the digging work for them so they didn't have to excavate. Hey, Eddie, what's going on? Bandit, exciting news. You got a job for the first time in over 4 years. Congratulations. Part of it was in a caravan. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I found a piece of concrete inside of my camera after that launch. Well, you found part of the pad. Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. Good for you. Did you give it back? You didn't? I'm calling the space cops, man. But then again, I'm pretty sure Das rode that minivan, drove Mary's minivan out of there with a piece of pad stuck in the back. So it's maybe not a big deal. We have 2 closures for testing on the 18th and the 19th from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern. Interesting. Look at me. It's my pad now. I'm wondering what the Delta V margins are for the ISS launch from Vandenberg. They must be a little higher because West Coast. What? I mean, it's not as bad as you might think, T-Man, because of that dogleg trajectory. That dogleg trajectory does take a little bit of Delta V out, but the Delta V margins would be similar to launching Polar out of the Cape, right? Hold on, let me DM you a photo. It's related, I promise. I hope that they're able to do longer duration static fires now that they have a proper deluge. It really depends on how long the water can last, Blue Flare, but yeah, that would be nice. Imagine it loses 20 engines within T-minus 20 and falls right back onto the pad. How can you lose an engine, Erudite, that isn't started? At T-minus 20, no engines are lit. How you... That's like saying, imagine a tire fell off a parked car. Okay. The point is, I don't think that'll happen. T plus 20. Oh, yeah. Honestly, yeah, that would suck, dude. Space news a good while. That would suck. Highly technical analysis. Yeah. Sometimes it's better to be general. I've had wheels fall off of parked cars. Granted, they fell off due to human intervention. Thank you for letting me know, Eddie. Thanks. Enlightening stuff. Stolen, that was a joke. No, I got you. I was getting there, man. Thanks, Eddie. I was gonna say it's called changing a tire. Oh, I know what you mean. Sorry, it's still a little slow, man. I was like, what the frick are you talking? Oh, okay. Yeah, dude, you're right. You're right. You're not wrong. I just got off words that we're both there. All right, man. High five. Yeah, all right. Oh, dear. Hey, guys. I already asked this a little bit earlier in the stream, but there's a lot more of you here now. What do you think about Starfield? What do you think about Starfield? I ain't pre-ordering it. If that's... And I know people are going to say, don't pre-order. Yeah, I'm not going to. But also, what do you think about Starfield? Got Game Pass, so you know it's on there. Very intrigued. Definitely looks fun. Cautiously optimistic. Yep. Just hoping it's not buggy as hell. I mean, no offense, it's Gamebryo, so... I mean, me too, man. Yeah. Has potential, but it has to prove its worth. That's a good way to say that. Fun fact, there's a patch in the trailer of the game that shows Dream Chaser. Yeah. So, when I was out of commission for the past couple of days because of my tooth, because of dental surgery, I was trying to get caught up on the backlog of YouTube videos, right? And one of them was that somebody linked to me at some point was the not behind the scenes, but it's a 45-minute video about, you know, it's presented by Todd Howard and a bunch of Bethesda developers about Starfield and what it is and how it works and how the gameplay works. And I must say, either Todd Howard is the best salesman in the gaming industry, like akin to like legendary salesman status, or that game looks really, really good. Ready to hurt again. That's what I'm afraid of, Max. That's what I'm afraid of. Yeah, exactly, Warp. That's what I'm like, oh, this looks really cool. Oh, I fell for Todd Howard again. Damn it! Why do I always do this? You know? That's the one thing I didn't get around to, Alleviate. I didn't watch the City Skylines dev vlogs. The reason why is because I kind of wanted to watch them here with you guys. Bethesda definitely has the potential to pull it off. Their last game left a bad taste in people's mouth for a good reason. In the past, they made absolute bangers. It could be very good. Skyrim, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, yeah, for sure. I think we're all kind of because of 76. But damn, dude, that game looks intense. It looks pretty damn good. Did you watch the Hellion video? No. Damn it, I knew I forgot something. No, I didn't, man. I gotta go watch it. Because I know it's relevant, but yeah. What happens to stars when they fall? Do they turn to ashes or something? Stars? Stars don't fall, Alien. They blow up. Or burn out. Think of like a light bulb going out. They do that. And when they do that, bad stuff happens. Usually. Or they don't. Shooting stars, if that's what you're talking about, shooting stars aren't stars. They're just pieces of... Remember I showed you that picture of all the junk that was up in orbit? Shooting stars are mostly just either artificial or natural satellites just re-entering Earth's atmosphere. Yeah, and burning up. They're not actually stars. Any interest in Xenonauts 2? No. Astrodynamics. Thomas, dude, that video from Starfield where they were talking about their design style for Starfield, NASA Punk, that's literally my plausible realism build style in Kerbal put to words. I'm kind of annoyed that I didn't think of that. NASA Punk is how I build vehicles in Kerbal. It's NASA Punk. It's supposed to look like it's NASA akin, like it could be something that they made. That's literally how I build stuff. They stole my idea, and they gave it a better name than me, damn it! You're still having issues with VR. Issues? And now you'll get sued by Todd. Have you ever seen a rocket launch live? Yes, many. You should, Alien. Go to Florida. Watch a rocket launch. Trust me. It's awesome. Don't let them rebrand cassette futurism into NASA Punk. Yeah. Didn't you say you're getting vertigo doing flight stuff? Don't recall that. We could watch the Cities 2 vids while we wait for Electron. Mark, you were on base for 3 shuttle launches, including the STS-1 in 1981. April 12th, 1981, Mark. It's a good day. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. America's first space shuttle. That's awesome, dude. Those early shuttle missions were cool, man. Shuttle had a lot of promise until January 28th, 1986. But turns out if you know, launch something that's not designed to launch in the cold and launch it in the cold, it does something you don't want. Funny how that works. 128 is your birthday. Oh. Sorry, man. You might like VTOL VR. I know about VTOL VR, Pythos. I have it. Yep, yep. The presentations these days make everybody hype. Everybody gets it. Well, Erudite, the reason why I got kind of hyped up about Starfield is because they showed a lot of gameplay, dude. That shipbuilder, man. The shipbuilder. I want it. I'm not gonna lie. That was my selling point. The second they were like, oh yeah, you can build your own ship, you can make whatever you want. And you could salvage other ships, take parts off of them, and put them on your ship, I went, oh, you butthole, Todd Howard, how dare you? Yeah, also the sandwich collection. Yeah. Yeah, Bradley, the shipbuilder, dude. I'm like, no. Oh, fudge. And then you can go, like, fly your ship around. It's like Star Wars Galaxies Jump to Lightspeed all over again, but better. When did they change the external tank color, T-Man? STS-3 in 1982. The first 2 shuttle missions had white external tanks, and never again. No other shuttle mission had it. You turned 22 on January 28, 1986. We'll remember that day forever. Damn, Mark. Damn, dude. Yeah. What a crappy day. I can't believe that, dude. I can't believe that. Some freaking bonehead made the decision to launch when it was too windy and too cold and said, oh, we gotta launch it. It's high profile. Yeah, you know what? Why don't you high profile this? That's awful. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Go Fever, man. Because, you know, oh, hey, we launched it and it broke last time, but it made it back, so it's fine. You know, that always works with engineering. I can think of a very recent example. Yeah, of it not ending well. Oh, the submarine made it down there before. It'll do it again. If you're ever involved, and this is just kind of a general PSA in chat, if you're ever involved in any type of engineering project and someone starts saying stuff like that, promptly disregard everything that they have to say and go do some math. Go do analysis. Oh, it made it down there before. It'll be fine again. No. No, it won't. Shut up. Be quiet. Go away. That man is playing Galaga. Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did. Don't do that. Engineering without analysis is an opinion, and opinions are irrelevant. Don't think, just do. Just do. You finally watched it, Pytho? What'd you think? It's good. It's good. Plot, I don't care. I don't care about the plot. It's good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It was great, but I can point out a bunch of, yeah, by those, it's a Top Gun movie. It don't matter. It's Top. Did any other animals go to space or just that gorilla many years back? It wasn't a gorilla, it was a chimpanzee. It was a chimpanzee named Ham. And Ham was launched in a Mercury Redstone capsule, and he survived. The Soviets, before that, on their Vostok rocket, launched Laika, a dog, into space. Laika was the first mammal in space, as far as I can tell, if I'm understanding that right. Ham was the first animal in space to come back alive. Yeah. The early days of spaceflight was a little crazy. A little bit of aviation news. The Buffalo Airways 737 made its first flight. I saw that footage, Thomas. Yeah, that's really cool. Or Laika. Laika did not make it back. Interesting thing about that, though, is that Laika, Alien, from what I understand, Laika, the only reason Laika didn't make it is because the dog literally could not comprehend what was going on and panicked themselves to death. Yeah, that's what happened to Laika. Capsule made it back. I mean, don't get me wrong, it probably got a little hot in there from what I understand. But yeah, Laika didn't make it back because dogs don't really understand what a re-entering spacecraft is doing, and the dog literally panicked. And that was the end of that. Laika did not like that. You know what? I'm not showing the Buffalo Airways 737 because of that, Thomas. Nope. You don't get to see it now. Basically had a very bad panic attack. Yep. Mr. Naga not gonna work here anymore. So how did the monkey not suffer a bad panic attack? Yeah, training, etc., etc. I mean, Tomas, you gotta understand, the Soviets basically took a dog, somebody's dog, and put it in a space capsule and then sent it. Ham underwent training. Chimpanzees have the mental capacity to be able to learn basic stuff like that. I don't think dogs can. cool thing about Ham is that Ham actually had a long life after that. Ham lived 20 years after his space flight. Believe it or not, yeah. Died in the 70s. Or like even the early 80s. Yeah, the Soviets were like, you, what is your dog's name? Hey, my dog name is Laika. Alright, please, we need dog. State property now. You understand? Well, yeah, they just said put dog in spacecraft launch. Nice, Everest. And he killed the dog. No, it was overheating. No to what, Aqualex? Are you saying no to the part where I said it got a little hot in the capsule? No, I think you must have missed that part. You have 2 dogs in your family named Reggae and Pepsi. Nice, nice. John Wick would not be happy. Yeah, that's very true. And he killed the dog. There will be a chosen one. It will be significant. Hey, fellas, I've been a little bit out of the loop lately. Is that second stage longer? The Electron has a longer second stage nowadays, right? Hey, Tweets, what's going on? How's your tooth? Not in my mouth anymore. There's a... Oh, please, I have a wound there. No, it's... Tweets, it's alright. I'm doing okay. It's been longer for several missions. Yeah, it's been like that. I'm just trying to regain my bearings here, Thomas. I've been out for, like... Out of the, like... Having my finger on the pulse for spaceflight stuff for, like... Well, it's the 17th. It's literally been, like, a month and a week. And I hate it. This is horrible. Dude. Let me just put it to you like this, just on a quick side note. I got a taste of what it could potentially be like if I stopped streaming and did something else. And you know what, dude? Seeing all these damn rocket launches go off and not being able to stream them really made me sad. Like, I'm just like, there goes another one. There's another Starlink. This is what it would be like if I didn't do this anymore. This is weird. I hate this. This is awful. Don't get me wrong. I have no plans to go anywhere. All right? All right, Antares, have a good night. I was told... there you go, Everest. Yeah. Even you didn't know that, Zay? Nice, nice. Nice, nice. Yeah, no, I was just like, oh, there goes another Starlink. There goes another Starlink. Oh, there goes Ariane 5's last mission. This is great. Like, I don't like it at all. Being a normie sucks. Yeah, so, yeah, no, I ain't going anywhere. I ain't going nowhere. Yeah, I missed 1058 and 1060's 16th flight, which really sucks, man. That's not fun at all. But yeah, no, I don't like it. I don't like it. Let's see. Let's see, I'm just scrolling through to see if there's any other space news. Here's the flight profile for the Rocket Lab mission. For Baby Come Back! Oh, nice, Everest. That's cool. How many more times before they, like, retired those boosters? I have no idea, T-Man. Yeah, there you go. She's gonna parachute down and land. just visited Infinity for the first time. That stage is something to see. Infinity? Cool. Are there going to be any fun launches from KSC? In launches out of KSC from December 15th through the 17th? You're more, you know what, Engineer, nowadays you're more likely to see one than not. I don't know. Rocket launch schedules are tentative, dude. I couldn't tell you what's launching in 2 weeks, to be honest with you. The schedule doesn't really come into focus until you're less than 7 days out. So I can't tell you what's going to happen in 2 weeks, let alone at the end of the year. I have no idea. Probably? Maybe? The Infinity Space Center. Yeah, tweets. All right, I just wanted to make sure. Cool, man. Pretty cool, huh? Wait, let me just make sure that I'm thinking of the right thing. Infinity Space Center in Burlington, Mississippi. Okay, hold on one second. Let me, This is outside of Stennis, right? Oh, hello. Hello. Yeah, here we go. Infinity Science Center is a non-profit museum. Yeah, there's a Saturn V stage here, is there not? They have the S1C from Michoud there. Hey. Ooh, that's mint. That is mint. Yeah. Apollo 16 first stage is... The Apollo 16th first stage is there. Yeah. Okay, I got you. Not the Apollo 16 first. Yeah, yep. Yeah, it's, here, let's just go into Goggle Earth. Looks a bit like a plane engine. They're distantly related, Alien, but it depends on the type of rocket engine, to be honest. Oh. This is good. Huh. Alright. Chat, my dashboard just took a dump, and Google Earth is also taking a dump. This is very good. I would appreciate being able to use the monitor of the computer that's on the screen. What the heck's going on? Oh, there it goes. Yep. Yeah, it didn't like that. Okay. Guess we're not looking at Stennis. Please hold. Yeah. Just, yeah, give me a second here. Let me, go here, and, we'll give that, give this old boy a quick restart. Sorry, Chad, I broke the stream. Tweets! How dare you? That Saturn V is big, isn't it? Bigger than you think it is. Nah, just lock up pins. It's hot in here, dude. When the sun goes down, I'm in a metal building, and it's an insulated metal building with no air conditioning, and it gets hot in here. Even the amount of heat that because the sun is shining on the freaking metal building, especially like when it's setting, it shines on it and it puts a lot of heat into the building. The AC can't keep up with it. So it's getting a little toasty in here. Should start cooling off though soon. Have you considered putting up sunshade nets? I'm just going to get a heat pump for in here. I like that solution better. Sounds like you need some trees. Yeah. So the Infinity Center is over here. No, I don't think that's it. That's other things. Yeah. Pass it all the time and never stop for us. Scratch that off my bucket list. Yeah, that's there. A full Saturn V first stage. Or paint the garage bright white. It's already white? Yeah, see. Full Saturn V first stage. I really hope they build a building around that thing. Is that a LEM? Where? Oh, yeah. I don't think that's got to be a mock-up or something here. Let me... Displays include the Apollo 4 command module, a full-size ISS model, a cutaway model of the Orion spacecraft, and components from a space-flown RS-25 shuttle main engine. Outdoor displays include an F-1 rocket, a tsunami buoy, a U.S. Navy Riverine training boat, and the Apollo 19 Saturn V first stage booster, acquired from NASA Michoud. Cool. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. But this thing really, honestly and truly belongs at the bottom of the ocean. But, you know, that's good too, I guess. I'd rather see it at the bottom of the ocean, to be honest. That first stage was moved from over here. Right here. In fact, with this old imagery, you might actually be able to see that. Oh no, well, that's where it was. It was right there. This is where all the Saturn V first stages were built. This is the Michoud Assembly Facility, or MAF for short. All the Saturn V first stages were built here. All the Space Shuttle external tanks are built here, and all the SLS cores that have and will be built are built here. Which is pretty cool. It's a pretty big facility. Yeah, I mean, look, the cars. Look at the cars next to the place. Should tell you how big it is. You can use the date thing on Google Earth. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we can see it. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, they just left the Saturn V first stage, just left it out. Which just... Yeah, see, that was after they moved it. Yeah, that's annoying. I don't like that at all. Are you a former employee? No, Leo, no. I'm just a spaceflight nutcase. Yeah, there's other artifacts that they left out here that got destroyed by a hurricane. it on a barge during transport. Beast. What a freaking monster. So much unused power. That's what I'm saying, Apocalypse. It belongs at the bottom of the ocean. It doesn't belong in a museum. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Belongs at the bottom of the ocean. Based on how Blue Origin does spaceflight, do you think the first New Glenn booster will land successfully? Maybe. I mean, it shows the last New Shepard mission that flew showed that it was clearly Blue Origin clearly isn't afraid to send it when the stakes are high. Why use a tug? Just light up one of the engines. Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly. Anyway. Yeah, the Electron launch got pushed back a little ways, so I don't know, what do you do? Please hold. Blue got a thing. What the hell? So this is Blue Origin with a reusable upper stage rocket with an... Systems and methods for a fully reusable upper stage for a multi-stage launch vehicle are provided. The reusable upper stage uses an aerospike engine for main propulsion and for vertical landing. A heat shield can include a plurality of scarfed nozzles embedded radially around a semi-spherical surface of the heat shield, wherein inboard surfaces of the plurality of scarfed nozzles collectively define an aerospike contour. The heat shield can be actively cooled to dissipate heat encountered. Yeah, this is a patent application. Yeah. Yeah, like that's what I was thinking. This sounds a lot like Stoke. Dude. Actually, this is a little bit different than Stoke. It looks like they're using individual rocket engines. Dude. That's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah. Yeah. They're clustering a bunch of smaller engines around a conic segment like this and basically making a gigantic aerospike engine, guys. Yeah. That's pretty impressive. Most impressive. Any more pictures? No. That's nuts, dude. I'm wondering what... So we need to figure out what like 160 and 162 are. Let's go down here to the definitions. Launch multi-stage vehicle, separate stage from space Separate upper stage from spacecraft. Descend upper stage. Shield heat with aerospike and engine heat shield. Actively cool heat shield. Eject exhaust from thruster modules. Deploy landing system. Where's 160? Is this the same blue that called Starship too complicated? Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, that's yeah, cut nozzle. Yep. It is kind of like Stoke, yeah. Wait, what's 148? I need to read more. Where's 148? Come on. Yeah, that doesn't work. Right. Stoke is another company, and Stoke was founded by a bunch of ex-Blue Origin engineers. The flow from the injectors, 148 may join with the ejected exhaust from the thrusters. Yeah, okay. The heat shield may include secondary fluid injectors, 148. The injectors 148 may be located within the central portion of 142. The heat shield 140. The injectors 148 may be arranged in an annular, for example, circular pattern. That's, see, look, that's Stoke. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, interesting. So, you guys want to see something cool? This is from Timmy's video. I can show a clip from it. We have permission to do that. You basically want to see... where's a picture of the whole sucker moving? Yeah, I don't know if that's... I don't know if Timmy's video... I want that picture. Here, let's check this out. Watch. Yeah. Watch, it's specifically this part here. That'd be pretty cool if we ever see that happen. Yep. Yeah, Stoke is basically... I said at the time it's basically SERV. Yeah, it's basically SERV. Only as a second stage, which is really cool. This is literally Blue Origin's flowchart. Remember, it's a patent application. Don't freak out. just check something here. Yeah, there we go. Alright, sorry, we didn't have any sound because I restarted the computer and Windows decided to reset my audio settings. You know, that's good. Check it out. Check it out. This is their prototype for that second stage engine.
5 seconds.
We are Stoke Space.
See what I'm talking about? Pretty cool, huh?
From seed money to engine testing, we've moved faster than any rocket company in history. We are building the holy grail of rocketry, a fully and rapidly reusable rocket. Our singular focus on 100% reusability and ultra-high launch cadence drives every architectural decision we make. So, we started with the second stage, the stage everyone else throws away. Our unique innovation is a combined system of 30 smaller, independently controlled thrusters embedded into our dynamically cooled heat shield. In the vacuum of space, our second stage separates. The plumes from 30 thrusters merge as one to provide ultra-high in-space performance. We can precisely deploy our payloads when and where they are needed. Once deployed, our second stage deorbits and begins atmospheric re-entry. Our durable metallic heat shield protects both the vehicle and return payloads, abandoning the industry standard of fragile ceramic tiles. Once safely through the atmosphere, our engine fires up, providing low throttle thrust to enable precision landing. The active cooling of our heat shield leaves the vehicle at a low, approachable temperature in preparation for rapid reuse. We are Stoke Space, and we are building the world's most efficient, fully reusable rocket. One mission-affirming piece of hardware at a time.
See, they're going to show firing again.
Real hardware, real results.
Cool. Pretty cool, huh? Big old aerospike engine. We'll see if, we'll see what happens from this. Interesting. See, from what I can tell here, Blue's, yeah, it's just a stage. Right? Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, it's pretty weird. I wonder if Stoke's going to have anything to say about that. I bet you they might. But we'll see. We'll see where that takes us. Pretty cool. The only difference I can see is the cut nozzles. Aqualix, if I'm understanding that right, Stoke's design is completely different. They have that ring, and the ring is full of rocket explosion, and then they have holes in the ring where it comes out. Like a sprinkler almost, but with fire. I think that's different than multiple cut nozzles like that. I think Blue is going for a singular, like, power pack per nozzle, which I don't think Stoke does, but I don't know. Could be wrong.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Alright, dudes. We got a lot of space news. I was thinking we would go to the Electron launch and then I would kind of call it, because, you know, sometimes when you haven't streamed in a little while, jumping back in and doing a really, really long stream can really kick the snot out of you. I was about to say something else. As a note, this was filed on July 8th, 2022. Oh, interesting. So I'm not really sure what Really enjoyed Space News as usual. Well, Pop, I heard you when you said last or Wednesday that you said you wanted more Space News. So yeah, got you. By the way, how did the dental work come out? I don't have a tooth anymore. They pulled it, and there's just a bunch of stitches where it was, and the infection's gone too. So I'm still kind of getting over it, Ingenuber, but more patent coverage. I will give you more patent coverage as we get more, we pick up more stuff that's going on in the space industry, but sure. Excuse me. I want it now. Why does the new Glen booster have 2 giant fins near the rear end? It's so it can fly. It has better cross-range capability when landing. Cities 2 vids. Sawyer, I'm kind of starting to get a nasty headache from this, dude. I need to go take more painkillers and lie down for a little bit, I think. I think I'll come back for the Rocket Lab coverage, dudes. And drink water. Yeah, I drank plenty of water. I'm probably just going to go grab some food and chill for a second. Yeah, if you haven't done long streams in a long time, you can't just jump back and do a long stream. It doesn't really... I found through experience that your body doesn't really like that, but yeah. So, out of an abundance of caution, I'm just going to take it a little easy tonight. And I'm going to stop for right now, but I'll be back in probably about an hour. Probably less than that. So, I'm going to go grab a quick bite, and I'll be back to cover the Rocket Lab launch. So, yeah. That was a good Space News. We tested out the hotfix, and I don't know. What do you guys want to play tomorrow? You want to play Derail? We can play Derail tomorrow, I think. I really want to play Starfield, but that freaking... We got a little bit of time. Excuse me. We got a little bit of time. When will the launch be? The launch is exactly 2 hours from right now. So I'm going to go chill for a second. EJ, can you put on a movie? EJ, put on a movie. What movie would you want to be on? I don't think I have anything that's 2 hours like that, Josh. So I'll just hit the log out button, dude. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys in about an hour and a half, okay? Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed Space News. I'll be back shortly for the Rocket Lab coverage. Thank you very much for watching, guys. It's good to be back. I'll see you guys tomorrow at noon, and we'll, I don't know, we'll run Derail or Factorio or, I don't know, there's a bunch of other things that we could do. Have a good rest. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. All right. Oh, that's pretty neat, Eason. Yeah, I don't hate that. That's... Mother of God, look at that thing. Okay, click on Geeson's link. Do you plan to watch the launch? I'm leaving.